Hello and welcome in, race fans, to tonight's event here in the golden hour just about in Fort Worth, Texas, for tonight's iteration from the Trinity Racing League. Race 6 on the season, and with an interesting little twist. We're in Texas, but we're in the original Texas. This is not the new configuration, so for tonight, we're doing a little bit of a throwback in that form. Joining me alongside, as always, is co-host Tom Richter. How's it going tonight, Tom?
Good evening, Arie. They say everything is bigger in Texas, and that includes the pressure to win. Out here is drivers getting set to begin race number 7 of their season. 26 drivers and counting getting set to do battle for the next 160 laps. So glad to have you back up here on a Monday night here, Arie, as we get set. Last time we were here 2 weeks ago in Michigan, Nolan Hicks took the checkered flag in an exciting finish at Michigan International Speedway. Tonight, very different style of racing as practice starts to come to a close here in the next handful of minutes.
That's right. It will be quite different indeed, and I'm sure a number of these drivers have been looking forward to tonight's event. You and I were kind of talking about it before we went on air just a little bit ago, but it seems like the consensus is that everybody and their mother enjoys this Texas more than the new configuration that we have in the modern day. So to be able to come on here to the sim and revisit the old configuration, much like you see a lot with Atlanta these days, going back to the old Atlanta just to experience that as well. I think it's a nice thing to be able to do.
Absolutely. And Arie, the biggest notable between old Texas and the new Texas is going to be the turn 1 entry, as we'll ride on board here with Mike Miller, see if he brings us around for another lap here in the new Texas Motor Speedway. The turn 1 entrance, I have always found it very awkward to try to get down. Do I want to be on the white line? Do I want to be in the middle? Do I want to be up on the top and try to carry the RPMs and the momentum out of the corner? This one, the answer is a little bit simpler. Get the car down as far as you can.
Yeah, this old iteration of Texas races like a really good mile-and-a-half track, a really good cookie cutter. I think when it was on the schedule in this format, it was a contender for the best cookie cutter on the schedule in terms of how it raced, in terms of the action that we got out of it. When they reconfigured it, they made that turn 1 a bit of a conundrum, and it definitely caused it to turn into a very single line, very momentum dependent sort of corner. It just didn't really fit too well, but I'm excited to see what kind of action we can get out here tonight on this old configuration. I'm excited to see if we get another first-time winner on the season here with the old configuration of Texas. I think tonight, Tom, will be a pretty good opportunity for some of these drivers who, might not be the drivers contending for wins week in and week out to come out here at, I guess you could call it a slightly unusual showing on the schedule and potentially get their name up there.
Yeah, throughout the first 5 races of the Trinity Racing League season here, 5 different winners. Chris Stitz, Jarrett Talmadge, the points leader coming into tonight. Vincent Sora at the Brickyard at Indianapolis. Brandon Gass picked up the win at Red Bull Ring a couple of weeks ago. Nolan Hicks at Michigan. So we have an opportunity to go 6 for 6 out here tonight. And if you take a look at the top, top 3 here, Ryan Bird, Mike Miller, Christopher Norris, any one of those would add themselves to that column.
That they would, and I tell you what, week in, week out, I don't know that anyone puts down more practice laps, more practice time than that 99 of Mike Miller, who we're following along with right now. I can't recall a single week, Tom, where we were sitting here in the practice hour and that 99 didn't have the most laps run.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single week, 5 starts for Mike Miller. No top 5s, no top 10s for that 99 so far, but it's not for a lack of effort. He has once again got the most laps as he is about to complete lap number 85 for that Chevy Camaro out here tonight. We'll see if this pays off. Tonight, he is second fastest in practice, only about 2 100ths of the current fastest car. That's going to be the 49 of Ryan Bird. Practice coming to a close out here, and it's about time we go qualifying.
How about we do it? Qualifying on the old Texas configuration, from what I can remember, Tom, was always really competitive with how these corners are laid out, so I'm excited to see what kind of action we get here. We're going to take a look at who might be the first drivers to light up. We're going to jump over to the 51 Ford Mustang. That's Ben Kinney in that M&M's machine, going to work that ride up to speed.
That Ford Mustang going to come up to speed, 4 gears strong out of pit road. One of the first cars to exit pit road. Josh Kanata, Jesse Thornock, Stephen Clapp, Scott Richter, Thomas Walter, and more already beginning their qualifying laps here. We'll stay with the 51 and see how he is able to set his qualifying lap. He's going to run down into turn number 3 and take the high side, try to carry as much momentum out of turn number 4 to bring himself to the green flag for the first lap.
That's how you got to do it. Going to come off of the corner with as much momentum as possible. Cut through the tri-oval as efficiently as he can. And for the first time through turns 1 and 2, he's going to ride that first seam. That's not what I would have expected. I think we'll see some drivers diving all the way down to the line. Some might fancy running a little higher up. But Ben Kinney going to have to go at it again on lap 2 here. Getting loose out of turn 2 is going to mean that that lap time's not going to be very competitive. So we'll see if this Ford Mustang can get corralled and put a lap on the board the second time around.
Now, where that happened here for Ben, it's not great, right? Because you're going to lose the first lap time, but it doesn't kill both laps. If that happened on the exit of turn number 4, it would be you would write the check and you would be done for your qualifying session because you would lose so much time on the exit of 4. But as it is right now, he is the slowest of the drivers who have taken time. Ryan Kelly currently at the top of the board, followed by Aaron Krolick, Ryan Bird the top 3 as they run through their first laps.
All right, out of 4 for the final time. Driver 51 coming to the line and going to put the M&M's machine with a representative time up in P5 as we jump over to driver 1. That's going to be Josh Stovall.
First time by for Josh, going to be good enough for 10th. See where he's able to pick up, try to improve. He's got about 4/10 of a second here, or excuse me, he's got about a second here in order to try to find his way forward. That's the difference between current provisional pole sitter Ryan Kelly and Josh Stovall.
Coming to the line now in the Tootsie's machine. Josh Stovall is going to put that machine P2 with the second effort. Big pickup right there as we jump over to Mike Miller, who is P2 in practice. We were just talking about this driver a moment ago, working his second way around. The first lap of 30.21 we've seen consistently. The second lap's faster, but Mike Miller is going to get loose in turn 3, and that is going to kill the lap. Not what Mike Miller wanted to see.
That's going to stick the 99 back up onto the outside of the top 14 as they run right now. Following Cedric Hunter, lap number 1 complete for driver number 7 was good enough for 17th out here this evening. We'll see what Cedric is able to do on lap number 2. He's going to bring that 7 down all the way down to the white line. That's the line that I like to see through 3 and 4, and he's going to complete lap number 2. Time awaits. 4th place pickup, so that's a pretty big pickup. Second place in points coming into tonight, Justin Campbell.
Justin Campbell in that 2 machine. Going to see where he can put that Toyota Supra coming through turns 3 and 4. For the final time, you can see that rear end. It wants to step out. He is just on the limit, just on the edge of grip. Going to bring that all blacked out machine to the line. And Justin Campbell second in points, 4th on the board with that lap. We're going to jump over to Larry Yingling in the 67.
Larry Yingling was such a competitor at the Brickyard at Indianapolis Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago. First time by here at Texas in the Lone Star State is 18th for driver number 67. We'll see where he's able to go on lap number 2. Going to move him up into a top 5 starting spot for the time being. Christopher Norris working his first lap.
All right, here we go with the 38. This is a driver I'm excited to see out here tonight, Tom. Over on Saturday evenings, Christopher Norris has been lighting the stat sheet up, collecting wins left and right, and I have been waiting to see what Norris can do out here on a Monday evening. Maybe tonight's the night here in Texas. Let's jump on board a little bit. We'll take a look at that wheel. You can see just how much Chris Norris is fighting, and he is on his second lap. This is supposed to be the good lap, so it looks to me, Tom, like Norris is going to have a lot of work to do here in the races. He's not going to get a representative time.
While this is all happening, Thomas Green has knocked Ryan Kelly off of the provisional pole out here, and with very limited drivers making their final laps out here, looks like Thomas Green going to sneak away with the pole award out here tonight.
In the closing moments, driver 3 goes out there and makes a statement. It's going to be an all Chevy front row with Thomas Green and Ryan Kelly.
All right, Arie, would imagine that we do have a 5-minute warm-up out here. Let's grab our second place starter out here, Ryan Kelly. Tom and Arie in the booth. Good evening, Ryan. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, you got a pretty good starting spot out here. How you gonna plan to run your race out here tonight? 160 laps is a long race.
Yeah, starting P2. Hopefully, can stay up front here. Thinking it'll go green here, and yeah, hopefully keep it clean and stay up front here.
We saw a lot of cars getting really loose on the exit of turn number 2 specifically through qualifying. Legacy Texas kind of demands a different strategy than the new one. How do you approach this one maybe a little bit differently than what maybe we're used to running on the new Texas here?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to worry about the tires tonight. Definitely an older surface than the newer Texas, and it'll definitely wear them quicker. So we'll be worried about that. We'll definitely think about taking 2 or 4 with the strategy and saving them for the end. And yeah, hopefully we'll put on a good show.
Well, Ryan, if you can do it out here tonight, we would go 6 for 6 in terms of winners out here through the first 6 races of the Trinity Racing League. Best of luck to you. Maybe we'll get to talk to you at the end.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, going to move Ryan back up. I believe he was in that room, so that's where we're going to stick him. But drivers got about 4 minutes of opening practice following Stephen Clapp. Driver's going to take this opportunity, likely to practice pit road entry as we wait for the lights to come on here.
I was just about to bring it up, Tom. I see all of the infrastructure there for the lights. I know Old Texas had lights, but I don't know. I wonder if we might find ourselves in an Atlanta situation where the old Atlanta has lights, they just don't work on the sim. I'd be curious to see, because I would have turned them on by now.
I mean, you take a look at just how dark it is for these drivers right now. The sun is set. You got that haze right behind the grandstands right now. That little golden hour. We're past that, but it's hard to even read the ads on the wall here. So we'll see when the lights come on.
That we will. It's going to be a real interesting conundrum if they don't end up coming on here, but we'll stick with it nonetheless as we watch Ryan Bird in the 49. Little onboard shot there coming out of turn 3 and 4 now. That's a good looking 49 right there.
Yeah, certainly blends in. But Ryan Bird, 3rd fastest. Unsurprisingly, Mike Miller is taking this opportunity. He has already got the most laps on track right now at the top of the speed charts. In the 5-minute warm-up that they got, can't put too much weight onto the warm-up, but he was certainly fast in opening practice.
That he was and continues to be even here in the warm-up. Just couldn't put the qualifying together, but far from the only driver to do so. I think we saw a handful of drivers there who didn't get a properly representative time for their capabilities, for the speed that they're going to have here tonight. And you know, that's going to happen no matter where you go, no matter when in the season it is, Tom. But I think part of that is just this old configuration of Texas. It lends itself to this very high-risk, high-reward kind of qualifying session and how you have to run both of these corners really all the way on the edge to be competitive.
Yeah, the thing about Mike, though, is that he was fast in practice, had a bad lap or 2 in qualifying. It's easy to get into your head when you run a great hour-long practice and then have a bad 2 laps, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm starting 20th. Got to stay with the program and know that you got a fast machine out here tonight. So we'll see how Mike approaches tonight's event, as we've got just about 90 seconds remaining in practice.
It's a great point that you make there as we watch the Amazon machine make its way around. Driver 19 currently 5th in the warm-up times. Only a handful of drivers electing to come out on track here for the 5-minute warm-up. Most drivers will be electing to take this time to get any last-second adjustments in, last-second things they need to take care of.
Hello, broadcasters. I'm sorry to interrupt. It has come to my attention that the session tonight does not have night lighting. I was unaware of this prior to making the session in iRacing. So I'm going to have to remake the session very quickly. I know we're live. It is going to be a noon session because I was unaware of the lights not working. I do greatly apologize for this.
All right, so race control popping in here real quick. Gonna let us know that we're gonna have to step away for a minute or so here in just a moment. And Josh, if you're able to, how are you going to do a requalify, or what's the plan in terms of starting grid?
I think we're just gonna have to requalify, unfortunately. As I said, I was unaware that the night lights here are non-functional. So this is a complete admin goof up. So I apologize again to everybody who's watching and to you guys and all the drivers. I'm going to set up a quick session here, but it shouldn't take too much longer. I'm setting it up as we speak.
Okay. All right. Then we will be back here in just a few minutes. We're going to step away. Just hang out right here. We will be back live on this stream in just a few minutes, and we will be back for the Lone Star 240.
All right, and we are back. Qualifying attempt 2.0. Hope everyone out there at home has your sunglasses ready, because we have gone from the dark of night to about as bright a day as you can get. And to reiterate, yes, we did qualify in the previous session, but some technical difficulties with everything, and now we are back, and these drivers are going to have to lay down 2 more laps, so 4 total. Everyone gets a do-over. Good news if you're anybody except the 3 of Thomas Green.
All right, so first time by here, we're going to follow Thomas Walter in that 57 Chevy Camaro. Everybody gets the mulligan, and if you had a bad lap in session number 1, it all goes away. It means nothing, because the starting lineup for tonight's race is going to be determined over the next 5 minutes out here. Thomas Walter, Larry Yingling, Josh Kanata, Clint Cox, Chris Stitz, all drivers on an active track right now.
And one thing to consider here, Tom, is the different conditions out here in this session, being the time of day is much different. These drivers haven't gotten to practice in these conditions for the most part, outside of the 8 or 9 minutes that they had the little practice getting everything figured out here. So a lot of these drivers, they're kind of going in cold turkey, if you will, not sure what to expect.
Well, it's going to also be that, Arie. It's going to be the difference in temperature on the track, but it's also going to be the rubber that was laid down over the hour-long practice session. Drivers are coming in here. The longer that the practice runs, the more rubber the cars are going to put down, and that is going to tighten up the track, so drivers may be working with a little bit looser conditions than they were in the previous session. Here for qualifying, at the top of the board right now, it is Clint Cox. Mike Miller improves on his first session qualifying, currently sits 3rd as Chris Stitz takes the provisional pole.
We're going to jump on over to Noah Steele in the 8, coming off of turn 4 right here, and that 8 machine is going to get started on lap number 1 at the line. Man, that yellow pops in the sunlight out here for that Chevy Camaro. Going to dive it down into turns 1 and 2, try to keep that thing planted, but I think much like we saw in the earlier qualifying session, Tom, this is going to come down to lap 2 for most of these drivers.
Larry Yingling is able to jump up to 2nd place as he completes his 2nd lap. Noah Steele still looking to get the first time on the board for driver number 8 out here. Jared Talmadge, Ryan Kelly also out on a track right now. Nolan Hicks, all drivers trying to get their 2 laps in. Christopher Norris has completed both of his laps and is good enough for 7th.
Down into turn 1 for the 2nd time goes Steele in that blue and yellow machine. Gets a great turns 1 and 2 right there down the back straightaway. It's a pretty bumpy back straightaway before we dive down into turn 3. We'll ride on board as Noah Steele's going to plant this car right on that white line, patient on throttle, right on the edge of grip, comes off of the corner nice and low, just barely avoids the grass, to the line. Driver 8's going to put it P3.
Sam Garcia begins his first lap out here, as does Cody Reed. Drivers trying to pick up from their original qualifying session out here, but at the top of the board, as it was before a moment ago, Chris Stitz, Larry Yingling, Noah Steele was able to take a top 3 spot away. Ryan Kelly, who we spoke to a couple of minutes ago, he is looks like he's going to be holding 4th for the time being.
Down into turns 1 and 2 goes Samuel Garcia for the 2nd time in that blacked out 50 machine. See where he can get that put by the end of this lap. Currently sitting P19, but of course only on the representative lap as of now. I tell you what, Tom, given the lack of rubber on track, a trend that I've noticed on the sim is that tends to help early on before the rubber gets laid down. The times are a lot faster. You can do a lot more. Samuel Garcia is going to jump up to P13.
All right, now this is the driver that everybody's going to have to keep their eye on here. Fastest in session 1 qualifying in that number 3 Camaro. We'll see if Thomas Green is able to replicate what he was able to do in the previous session. First time by was good enough for 24th. First time not going to be the hot lap for Thomas Green as he looks to complete lap number 2.
I tell you what, that 3 car can get down on that white line in both ends of the track a lot better than a lot of the others I've noticed. To the line goes Thomas Green. It's going to be P8 in this session right here, so not going to be happy with how everything is worked out. What could have been a pole start, he's going to have to settle for the back end of the top 10.
5-minute qualifying is coming to a close out here. New pole sitter going to be Chris Stitz and Larry Yingling up on the front row. I do believe we're going to get an additional couple of minutes here for driver warm-up. Before we get started out here tonight, Arie, want to give a shout out to the pole sitter and the grid sponsor, and that's going to be Blazing Fast TV. If you're looking for a relaxed stream, race on over to Blazing Fast TV on Twitch and YouTube. Check out Dakota Moniz' live point of view as he races. Drop a follow, subscribe to stay up to date when he goes live and posts content.
All right, it looks like at the moment these drivers are going to get another short warm-up session before we officially grid for tonight's event. Gonna have up to 5 minutes, assuming race control does not elect to skip this, given we had the previous warm-up. We shall see, but at the moment, got a couple of drivers heading out on track to try and make use of it regardless.
Josh Sawyer in that 19 is going to come out and be one of the first cars out on track. Only 3 cars on track right now. It's going to be Josh Sawyer that we're following along here. The 49 of Ryan Bird and Thomas Walter in the 57. So drivers may elect to attempt their pit road entry here. Is Josh going to get loose on the exit of 4 and put some damage on that Amazon machine?
Just a little bit, as does the 49. Conditions out there perhaps a little treacherous for these drivers. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out during race time. It looks like the warm-up is going to be advanced right here. We're going to get ready to set our grid officially.
All right, Arie, it is a Monday night. Let's go racing from the Trinity Racing League, round number 6 for the Lone Star 240 out here tonight. We've got our qualifying results here. Chris Stitt's going to be starting on the front row with Larry Yingling in second to his outside. Jarrett Talmadge, the points leader coming into tonight's race, starts third with Noah Steele in the 8, starting fourth. The top 5 is rounded out by Ryan Kelly. Row number 3 is rounded out by Clint Cox. Ali Fonseca rolls off 7th out here tonight. Thomas Green in the 3 machine starts 8th. The top 10 is Mike Miller and Scott Richter.
In P11, it's going to be Chris Norris in the 38, followed by Ryan Bird in P12. Josh Stovall is going to start us off in 13th, ahead of Samuel Garcia in P14. Cody Reed starts us off 15th, ahead of Aaron Krolick in 16th. Nolan Hicks in the 86 starts 17th, with Cedric Hunter in P18. Stephen Clapp going to start 19th. Thomas Walter rounds out the top 20.
Our field of 27 drivers out here tonight in the O'Reilly Auto Parts cars. Justin Campbell starts 21st out here tonight, comes in here tonight second in points. Keep an eye on that 2 machine to move forward. Jesse Thornock in the 14 rolls off 22nd with Ben Kinney in 23rd. Josh Kanata starts 24th out here tonight. Isaac Shelley starts 25th. Brandon Gass, the winner at the Red Bull Ring a couple of weeks ago, starts 26th, and Josh Sawyer 27th.
All right, most of the field is on the grid at this point and ready to get this race underway. Be real curious to see how the handling of these cars perform once we're under racing conditions in a non-rubbered-in surface, different conditions from what they've practiced up to this point. Shuffled up running order from what everyone expected after that first qualifying session. This is about as much chaos as you can throw in there, Tom.
So let's talk here real quick before we get rolling out. The mental game of this, Arie. You just spent an hour practicing in a completely different practice session in a completely different environment. Now you have to now you got to flip the script and get ready to do battle. Here we're going green flag racing at the end of this pace lap. Any nerves on any of these drivers? Maybe a little bit more than what they had on the other session?
I think so. I think you're going to see a more intentional effort from these drivers to kind of play it safe and feel it out through the first handful of laps here, especially just given the circumstances that have presented themselves. I think, if we had gone in the other session as normal after qualifying, we probably would have seen a different level of intensity off the bat. But I think right here it's going to be a little bit of just feeling it out and figuring out how everything is going to play out.
Well, we've got 160 laps of questions to give us one answer at the end of tonight. Who picks up the race win in the round of 6 in the Lone Star 240 out here tonight? Will we go 6 for 6 in terms of winners here? Will we find our first repeat winner? Everything is bigger in Texas, and we're about to find out who is going to take home the hat at the end of the night.
All right, on the front row, in control, it's going to be Chris Stitz in the 17 alongside Larry Yingling in that 67. Pace car pulls off, and for the first time tonight in the Lone Star State, the green flag is out, and we are racing.
Chris Stitz able to pull away by a half a car length, make it 1 car length by the time they get down into the apex of turns 1 and 2. Chris Stitz with the lead on the exit of turn 2. We're 2 and 3 wide. Ryan Kelly goes around off the nose of Noah Steele in the middle of the backstretch. The 13 hard into the wall.
Hard into the wall goes Ryan Kelly in front of the field, and I tell you what, Tom, the fact that there aren't more cars parked on the entry of turn 3 is pretty amazing.
Lap 1 incident for the 13. Was scheduled to start second off the original qualifying.
I think we have
session,
issues
so.
for Noah Steele as well. Off track at the moment.
All right, well, we got a couple of things to catch up here. All right, so first thing we're looking at is we're looking at the incident on the backstretch here. Noah Steele on the outside, Ryan Kelly on the inside. See the 13 dancing around just a tiny bit. Eventually, they're going to come together, but how? That's going to be the question we have to answer. Looks like.
Seems like Noah Steele in the 8 just kind of comes down the track, at least based on those dotted lines. We'll get another view, of course, as the 13 gets right hooked into the wall.
Yeah, I also want to take a look and see if maybe there was any sort of contact between the 03 of Cox to the rear bumper of the 8 that may have sent the 8 down a little bit, but we'll queue up another view here and get a better look at this.
All right, let's get an aerial view as we're heading down the back straightaway. We'll keep it in slow motion. You can see the 8 of Noah Steele up on the high line right there. Ryan Kelly in the 13 just kind of following that first hashed line down the straightaway. Looks like Noah Steele just kind of comes down the track a little bit. I'm not entirely sure what the situation is here right now. I know Noah Steele in the 8 has since pulled off of the racing surface entirely. Actually parked it.
Yeah, let's see what happens here with Noah Steele. So we're under the yellow flag already. We're still in the same replay. And he's going to come down pit road with multiple felonies. He's going to be hot coming down pit road, unsafe pit entry. And looks like he's going to bring that 8 car to the box. Got to wonder maybe if there was some sort of hardware issue on the 8 with the way that he came down and then immediately pulled on pit road.
Yeah, it's truly a bizarre one, Tom. I really don't know what to make of the situation, but as it stands, Noah Steele still out there on pit road. Might not be out of the race entirely. It doesn't look like he's pulled it behind the wall. So we will keep tabs on that. Ryan Kelly on pit road getting some damage repaired as well. Still currently on the lead lap.
All right, a couple of cars made their way onto pit road here. Let's go on board. This is going to be lap number 1, going to be a replay on board with Josh Kanata. He sees some smoke starting to happen in front of him here.
The Kanata cam never fails.
Can't go a race without the Kanata cam. So no issues for Josh Kanata. Thomas Walter also on pit road and off pit road. Looks like Brandon Gass has elected to come down pit road. Maybe drivers just stopping in here for gas a little bit. I was wondering if maybe a couple of cars also got collected, but not the case here as the lights are extinguished.
Yeah, it could just be a matter of topping off on some fuel. Something to keep in mind, as opposed to most racing series out there nowadays, we do not have scheduled stage breaks here in the Trinity Racing League, so perhaps drivers who don't have the track position just electing to put themselves in potentially a slightly better spot, topping off on some fuel further back in the field. We'll see. It's a handful of laps, but who knows? That could be all it comes down to.
All right, so as they started a couple of laps ago, the front row going to be, once again, Chris Stitz electing to take the inside lane. He's going to be the control car. Larry Yingling on the front row, going to be on the outside. Series points leader, Jared Tomich, going to be third. Clint Cox up a couple of positions here early in the going of tonight's race, going to be on the outside of row number 2. We wait to go into the restart zone for the second time here tonight, and Chris Stitz going to bring us into the green flag, and away we are.
All right, the 17 gets a good launch. He is going to clear out front. Talmadge in the 27, going to get that nose on the inside of Yingling. Now battle is on for P2 as we are 2 by 2 behind the leader.
2 by 2 behind the race leader. Chris Stitt's able to pull away by 2 car lengths by the time we exit turn number 1. Jared Tomich going to jump up to the second place and clear for second. Thomas Green on the hunt, trying to improve his qualifying position out here this evening. Larry England is going to lose 2 spots on this lap and maybe 3.
All right, then down the front straightaway, Thomas Green looking to take that spot. He is going to clear up to P3. 5 spots up from where he started already is Thomas Green, looking to get back up towards the front of the field. We've got Ollie Fonseca on the high side, trying to get that pass done into the top 5. He's gonna do it just barely ahead of the 0-3 of Clint Cox. Make that move good. The first side-by-side action is going to be a little further back. Chris Norris, Mike Miller.
Christopher Norris on the inside, Mike Miller up on the outside. We know that 99 is fast out here tonight. We'll see what Mike Miller is able to do as these laps start to click off. 160 laps, long way to go. 240 miles of racing in front of these drivers out here tonight. Now Christopher Norris on the inside on the south end of the speedway. Clint Cox to the outside as Norris tries to pull up to the middle.
We're going to see this run down the back straightaway. Great camera angle right here where you can kind of see the ebbs and flows of it. Chris Norris is going to drive it in really deep to get that pass done. You can see the difference in how he drove that in versus how Clint Cox elected to give that up at the start of the corner. A little further up, battles on for P2. Thomas Green not ready to settle yet. Remember, he had the provisional pole on lock before we had the technical difficulties with the session. He then comes into this session here, this brand new session, qualifies P8. He is already up to P2, and we haven't even hit lap 10.
The top 15 or so are single filed out as they run right now, but Thomas Green has got crosshairs in the glass in front of him as he's got Chris Stitz directly in his sights last time by. A little bit faster for Chris Stitz, the race leader, as Thomas Green was trying to work his way around former second place Jared Tomich. Now Thomas Green on the move and closing on Chris Stitz.
All right, most of the field is single filed out at this point. We're going to take a look right here from our turn 3 camera. A little bit of side-by-side action, but you can just see already, just about 10 laps into this race, how spread out the field can get here at Texas. And really in a very cookie-cutter fashion, you know, whether it's here, whether it's Kansas, Chicago, you name it, you kind of find this point in the race, you know, a handful of laps into the run time where everyone just starts running nose to tail, figures out what they need to be doing. They go into tire management mode. They're just kind of waiting for their time to strike.
Yeah, and it's difficult here, Arie, because if you know that you have a stage coming at lap number 50 or 60 or 70 or whatever the number may be that night, right, you can kind of manage your tires to that. Now here, in terms of tire management, these drivers have to assume that they have to run the entirety of their fuel run on that set of tires, and that's not always the case when you have stages. Sometimes you need to come down for fuel before the stage is over.
Absolutely. As we see Chris Norris get into the wall on the exit at 2 right there, that's going to give that spot back up to Larry Yingley in the 67. He's going to move back into the top 5. He's been falling from the start, started outside front row, but still hanging around towards the start of the action. We can go a little further back, and we've got another battle going on. That's Kralik in the 0-1. To the outside is Samuel Garcia in that Apex 50 machine. Might be losing another spot right here to Josh Stovall as well.
Let's do a quick close of the loop. Ryan Kelly back out on track, currently 26th for Ryan Kelly, involved in the lap 1 incident. He's going to be a lap down. Noah Steele 2 laps down, also on the racing surface as well. So both of the drivers involved in lap number 1 have made their way back out as we continue to follow the battle here with Stovall and Garcia directly in front of Cedric Hunter.
These two cannot get away from each other quite yet. I think Stovall has the advantage long-term right here on that bottom line. He is going to clear right here. He gets into the wall, though. Crossover opportunity for Samuel Garcia. He's going to bring the 7 of Cedric Hunter along with him to the inside.
That Super is going to slide up on the entry into turn number 3, but he's going to be able to bring it back down by the time they come out at turn number 4. They're going to be side by side by the time they get into the dog leg here at the start-finish line. Give the advantage to Josh Stovall by a nose at the line, but Sam Garcia still able to hang on to the preferred line on the inside.
He's got the preferred line on the inside, but I think that's going to be battle done and away as Stovall clears a little further up ahead. Scott Rickard in the 0-5, going places, moving up now 4 positions from where he started this race as he clears Chris Norris. And wow, on board Mike Miller goes for a ride in the grass after getting loose out of turn 4. He's going to lose 1, 2, maybe 3 positions down into turn 1.
Ryan Bird on the outside of Mike Miller as he's going to lose a couple of spots after getting loose through the grass. As it looks like maybe same thing's going to happen here for Christopher Norris. Maybe have an opportunity to slide up in front of the 99. Not going to happen by the time they get down to turn number 3. Some big shuffling happening back around here. Justin Campbell, one of the bigger movers of the evening so far, up 9 positions from where he started.
All right, then this looks to be the center of the Hornet's Nest. We'll jump back to that in a moment because we have got a battle for P2 as Thomas Green went up there and took it, but Jared Talmadge in the 27 fighting back. Now to the inside goes the 27 down the back straightaway. Both of these drivers want to have this position. They want a shot to go catch Chris Stitz in the 17, but these two seem pretty evenly matched at the moment.
They keep staying like this. It's going to bring Arie Fonseca, who's currently, I guess we'll call him maybe about 0.4 of a second behind these drivers right here. They stay like this for too long. This two-car battle is going to turn into a 3 or a 4-car horse race. We'll see who is able to take the advantages. There's no advantage on the exit of turn number 2. Green on the outside, Talmadge on the inside, still side by side down the backstretch, working lap 17.
Looks like Talmadge is going to have the nose ahead down into turn 3. Thomas Green way up the racetrack. Can he keep himself there with the nose? Yes, he can. And because of that, that momentum is going to help him out tremendously down the front straightaway. High risk, high reward. The further up the track you go from the driver on the bottom. Down into turn 1, a lot closer. Keeping that 27 pinned down on that white line there, Tom. Talmadge looks very comfortable on that bottom line, but when there's that little room to work with, no matter how comfortable you are down there, you can only do so much as opposed to the driver on your outside.
And while this is happening, Arie, this is allowing Chris Stitz to run a little bit faster. Arie Fonseca, faster than one, slower than the other, so we'll call that a wash right there. But it's allowing these drivers to run faster laps than the second and third place car as they were racing side by side. That's the last lap time. Let's try that again. On the tower right now, 9.26 to a 9.58 for Chris Stitz versus Thomas Green.
Here we go then. Jared Talmadge gets a great run off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Doesn't elect to take the move to the inside. Instead, he's going to push Thomas Green into turn 3 right there. Going to continue to try and set this move up. Going to continue and try to force Thomas Green into a mistake if he can. I think Talmadge has seen from that last attempt a handful of laps side by side that being on the inside might not work too well. Maybe you can make it work, but you're going to be using up a lot of your stuff. And right here, this might be the opportunity. That might be a good enough run. One thing I'm noticing here, Tom, is just how well the 27 exits turn 2. He's exiting the corner extremely low on the racetrack. He's got that wheel straightened out really nicely, and I think that's going to pay dividends huge over the long run.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. And we saw Thomas Green probably get a little loose on the exit of 2. Tight on the exit of 2 last time by. Had to breathe the throttle, and that was all the advantage that Jared Talmadge needed in order to take second place away. Now Arie Fonseca, who was about a half a second back before, he has joined this battle for second place as he is all over the back bumper of Thomas Green. Larry Yingling not too far off in the distance.
That's right. Drivers are starting to close in on one another. We're starting to get to a point in the run where the tires are hurting for some of these drivers who weren't particularly careful managing their equipment as we work lap 22 of 160. We have already had one caution. It was on lap 1, however, so call it about 18 or 19 green flag laps up to this point. As we got a couple of side-by-side battles going on, we can jump a little further back and see Justin Campbell, driver of the 2, trying to work over Mike Miller in the 99. This is a battle for P9.
Driver that started 21st out here tonight, not the qualifying effort that he wanted in that 2 machine, is still trying to find his way into the back half of the top 10 as before we get to the first round of what may be green flag pit stops out here. Arie Fonseca, Thomas Green now doing battle as Jared Talmadge has pulled away by about 4 car lengths in front of this battle here for third place.
Down the back straightaway, dead heat down into turn 3. No driver with a clear advantage. Thomas Green going to pinch hard down off of turn 4. That causes Arie Fonseca to have to get out of the throttle in a big way right there. That was a pretty good defensive move from Thomas Green. Pretty aggressive move for lap 23 right there, Tom, but it worked nonetheless.
I love it. You know, pinch on down and make the other driver have to make the right decision. And Arie Fonseca realizes it was lap number 23 when that happened, and he gets out of the gas, and he's going to set himself up for another attempt at Thomas Green here in another lap or two, maybe cool the tires down, but not going to be able to hold on for too long because he's got Larry Yingling directly behind him. Clint Cox and Scott Rickard starting to close in on this battle, as well as we have a driver on pit road. It's going to be Ben Kinney.
Ben Kinney, first driver on pit road. I'm not entirely sure, Tom. I'm taking a look at the pit time. That is longer than a 4-tire stop. So issues for the 51 of Ben Kinney. I wonder if perhaps he got into the wall, got himself some damage perhaps.
Justin Campbell sideways on the entry to turn number 3. He's going to get some contact with the outside retaining wall. Does a nice job of bringing it, saving that Toyota Supra, but very close call for Justin Campbell there.
Certainly seems like the handling is starting to go away for a handful of these drivers at this point in the run. Perhaps we've kind of hit a danger zone 25 laps into a run, something to keep in mind for the remainder of the race as we now jump onto the replay right here to see if we can't figure out exactly what happened with driver number 2.
So he's going to have, I want to say that's Aaron Kralik on his outside.
That it is.
Man, he does a nice job getting down there and then not sliding back up.
I tell you what, Samuel Garcia did a great job avoiding that one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Justin Campbell's going to lose all those spots that he just tried so hard to gain early in the going of tonight's race. Now finds himself back on the outside of the top 15, but up front, Arie Fonseca has made his way around Thomas Green on lap number 27. He's got Jared Talmadge directly in the sights of that 24. And now Chris Stitz may see the first challenge for the race lead out here tonight as Jared Talmadge now about 0.3 of a second. This is probably about the closest as anybody has been.
That's right. We're on board with the race leader right now, the 17 of Chris Stitz, and just like that, Talmadge has closed that gap. Remember, when we watched that 27 make the move for P2, there was about a second, maybe a second and a half between first and second place, but Jared Talmadge already has closed that gap in, and he is significantly faster at this point in the run. I think that 27 has something figured out in a big way for the long run right here, Tom. I mentioned it a couple of laps ago, but the way he's getting off of turn 2 right there, I just see that getting better and better as the race goes on, as these runs get longer and longer. He's going to get to the inside of Stitz in the 17. We'll see what he can do.
To the inside goes the 27 of Jared Talmadge. Chris Stitz up on the outside. Got to imagine we're going to have an advantage to Talmadge at the start-finish line. Looks like they were pretty close at the line. I'm not comfortable enough to call who got that lap led, but Chris Stitz still up on the outside, still trying to protect the race lead. This puts Ben Kinney kind of in an awkward spot right here. He's on 4 fresh tires, but he's playing a nice role right here where he's not pushing either one of these drivers and allowing the battle for the lead to play out.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Kinney currently sitting 3 laps down, so he could go up there and get one of those laps back, but at the end of the day, this is a pretty intense battle for the race lead. So what I imagine we're going to see is now that that has been settled, the 51 might feel a little more comfortable going up there and getting this lap back the old-fashioned way, given his brand new tires that he has. He just wanted to let these 2 race leaders go at it, figure it out amongst themselves, and try not to get too involved. Now that 51 dives down to the inside of Stitz, and he's going to pick them off one by one to put himself back only 2 laps off of the leaders.
All right, so the winner at Kansas Speedway a couple of weeks ago, Jared Talmadge, has taken the race lead as we have crossed past lap number 30, beginning lap number 32. Out here tonight from the Lone Star State, sliding on back just a little bit. Scott Rickard, Thomas Green, Josh Stovall, Ryan Bird, all these drivers kind of underneath the blanket here. As it looks like we've got Cody Reed, Cedric Hunter, also kind of within camera shot here. Is they're going to have a battle here for about, I guess we'll call this about the 7th place spot.
Just about. I tell you what, Thomas Green has now fallen back to where he's qualified in the session. P8 made that charge all the way up to 2nd place early on in the first 10 laps, and now we're seeing that 3-car fall down the running order. Did not take care of that equipment as much as he should have, but if there's going to be any time in the race, Tom, where you go out there and you accidentally run a little too hard to find where the limit is, it might as well be the very first run so that you have the rest of the race to correct on it.
It may as well, Arie, but this really sets the tone for Thomas Green. Now we know, I mean, what did he run? Probably about 25 laps, really hard up there with the race leaders. Now he's back on the outside of the top 10 as Cedric Hunter in the pink number 7, going to make the pass on Thomas Green here. So that's going to put Thomas Green all the way back down to the top dozen here on lap number 34.
That it is. Down into turn 1 we go. The 3-car finds himself in P12, just like that. A little further up the field, and that 67, remember, started on the outside of the front row. Larry Yingling, that bright red 67, can't miss it. Started P2 immediately, dropped position after position, and we didn't think too much of it, but here he comes in that Ford Mustang now. To the inside of Arie Fonseca. This is a battle for P3 on track, so Larry Yingling definitely playing the long game right here on those tires. I feel like this is something that we saw a handful of weeks ago at Indianapolis as well. Yingling had a pretty good showing out there with the long run being the strength, so I'm curious to see what we can see out of Larry as the race goes on.
Had an opportunity there to take third place away from Arie Fonseca. He's going to sit back, restack, and try it again here in another corner or two. But Arie Fonseca following Chris Stitz, who's being chased down by Larry Yingling up here. Clint Cox directly behind this. This is going to be a battle for I guess third once Clint gets up here. Clint Cox is another driver who we haven't really said a whole lot out here tonight and has quietly made his way into the top 5.
That he has, as now we have got a 3-way battle for P2 on track, on board with Larry Yingling following Arie Fonseca on the 24 to the inside of Stitz, and now Yingling to the inside of Fonseca. We are 3 wide through the tri-oval. Fonseca comes out on top. Yingling follows suit, and Stitz loses 2 spots just like that, but it's not over yet. The 67 now gets a run to the inside.
2 spots on 1 straightaway. That's what Chris Stitz just lost. Former race leader out here this evening. Going to slide back 2 spots. Arie Fonseca drops down in front of the nose of that Ford Mustang. Now Clint Cox takes a look on the inside of Chris Stitz back there in turns 3 and 4. Chris going to be able to protect that spot for another set of corners. We'll continue to follow the action up here. Battle for second. Arie Fonseca trying to take that outside line and protect position number 2.
Man, we have got a 3-car battle just behind, because here comes Mike Miller in the 99, trying to make it 3 wide. He's going to think again. Now to the middle as Clint Cox clears this battle. The 99 to the inside of Stitz, and at this point, Tom, we are seeing a tale of 2 stories from one driver to the next. You have either saved your stuff and and are charging towards the front, or you have used it all and tumbling like a rock.
Absolutely, that is the case out here tonight, and that makes me wonder about Jarrett Talmadge, as he was battling Thomas Green early in the goings in tonight's race. Thomas Green has fallen all the way back down to 21st place in the running order right now, so I'm kind of curious if Jarrett is able to protect those tires, or maybe that clean air is enough to offset the early battles that he had with Thomas Green. But here we go, back up here towards the front. Clint Cox now takes a look down to the inside of the 24. Mike Miller, who we know is very fast out here tonight, tries to take a jump out to the outside of Clint Cox, and may not happen just yet, although he's got the run on the exit of the corner.
I tell you what, this is benefiting Mike Miller in the 99. Mike Miller has been running a little bit of an unconventional line, I've noticed, Tom. He's running a little further up the racetrack than most of these other drivers, and what that's doing for the 99 is it's giving him clear racetrack. He's able to run his line even in traffic, because all of these other drivers are preferring the inside line. Meanwhile, Mike Miller, he is perfectly content to be a line or 2 up the racetrack.
I don't want to jump away from this action too quick, Arie, but Thomas Green had an issue which made him come down onto pit road, and he was shown a meatball flag here momentarily. We'll see if we can't catch it here with the number 3, but he has been on pit road. Looks like he has also been off pit road as well, but heavy damage, early pit stop for Thomas Green.
We're going to see what happens here with driver number 3 headed down through turns 1 and 2. Seems to be off the pace pretty significantly. I tell you what, Tom, do you think it's tire related? Did the 3 have a tire going down? Did he use his stuff that much?
Is that still a thing in iRacing? They still do that?
I think
know
it
that
is.
they used to do that. I know that they used to do that with. I had a race at Dover where, let's just say, I walked away from there not a happy camper that night. Where same thing. I over-abused the tires and was given a meatball flag. Had to come down pit road. So possibly the same thing for Thomas Green.
Yeah, I would say judging by how far off the pace that 3-car was, dropping like a rock, dropping worse than a rock, but not having any significant contact with the outside wall, that will do it right there. So that kind of tells us just how bad the tire wear is here on this this pretty hot, pretty sunny day here in Fort Worth, Texas. These drivers having a lot to manage. That tire fall off story that we've been following up to this point, 44 laps in. It's not just about managing your stuff, but we've got a lot of we've got some pretty high temps that we're dealing with at the moment. Air temperature 82 degrees out here, and there is not a cloud in sight. So these race cars are going to be feeling it.
Arie Fonseca loses a couple of spots here over the last couple of laps. Arie Fonseca, formerly in position number 2, back down into 7th as we follow Cedric Hunter, who has made his way around the 99. So we continue to see drivers move forward. We continue to see drivers move backwards here in the opening laps of tonight's race. Now, something that is interesting out here tonight, Arie, they only have 5 tire sets.
They do only have
through.
I tell you what, Tom.
I mean, I'm not good at math, but
yeah, 5 tire sets given the tire wear isn't great. However, I think these drivers are saved by the fact that there are not scheduled stage cautions in this event. I think if you had guaranteed yellows, guaranteed times in which the field was all going to come down and take tires, that would make it a little more risky. But now we have the opportunity to have these very long, drawn-out green flag runs, and if the race continues to play out like this, you're not going to have the opportunities to use all of those tires, even if you wanted to. So we'll see how that plays out the rest of the race as we jump back to driver 29, Brandon Gass. He's our biggest mover of the night so far, up 19 positions from the start of the race. Cedric Hunter in the 7, who we saw a couple of laps ago, also one of our biggest movers. Arie Fonseca has issues right now, gets split 3 wide in the middle.
couple of more drivers coming down onto pit road. Josh Stovall, Mike Miller. They're going to be the next round of drivers to come down on pit road. Don't see any penalty flags for them. Looks like a clean entry, but we've got drivers going backwards in a hurry here, Arie. But it's interesting because, like, you take a look at drivers like Cedric Hunter up 14 spots, Brandon Gass 21. These drivers have managed to save their tires even in the back of the field like this and still stay out on track and be faster.
Arie Fonseca has a tire going down on the 24. Sorry to cut you off there, Tom. Fonseca has a tire going down, has the meatball flag, needs to nurse that Chevy Camaro around one more time. He could not get down on pit road last time. Too much traffic, and this is... He is bleeding so much time right now, Tom.
Yeah, this is absolute worst case scenario. Now we've seen it for 2 drivers, so we know it's not just the way the one driver, Cody Reed, having the same call for Cody Reed, a tire going down on that 25, so he's gonna have to come down onto pit road this time by, and this is gonna flip the strategy on the head because a lot of these drivers maybe not expecting it. These drivers up here, they are running 4 seconds slower than what they qualified.
Well, I tell you what, Clint Cox is loving this in the 0-3 because he has caught the race leader. Jarrett Talmadge now has fallen into the clutches of the field. Here comes Clint Cox to the inside. Lap down car of Thomas Green in the 3, going to clear all of this as well. And we can't even count out Cedric Hunter in the 7, who is following suit. Tom, these drivers are over 3 seconds off of their fastest lap in this event. This tire fall off is extraordinary.
I don't think we've ever seen here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, Arie, a tire fall off excessively like this. And you got to wonder, you know, the old gritty surface of Texas Motor Speedway, they are running the version from 2000, is it 2009? We'll say 2009 out here. And that these drivers are just eating up the tires as Jarrett Talmadge and Clint Cox going to make their way onto pit road. That's going to pass the race lead over to Cedric Hunter. Second place currently Larry Ingram.
I tell you what, this is wonderful. If you are Cedric Hunter, Larry Yingling, Brandon Gass, if you're one of these drivers who has been able to manage your equipment enough to continue to stay out here and tick off lap after lap, you are going to be sitting very, very pretty, having the tire advantage for the rest of the race, assuming it stays green. Cedric Hunter in the 7 is going to pull it down on pit road this time by. That's going to hand over the race lead to Brandon Gass in the 29. Winner a couple of weeks back, as we now see another driver with a tire that has gone down. Thomas Walter in the 57, assuming it is a right front that has gone down on this machine, going to pull it down on pit road without losing too much time. Samuel Garcia is on pit road as well.
50 miles an hour for Thomas Walter as he nurses that 57 onto pit road. Still drivers staying out on track. It is going to be, let's try to get caught up here. Looks like it's going to be the top 7 have yet to pit. So from Brandon Gass to Stephen Clapp, now a couple of cars, Aaron Kralik, Stephen Clapp on pit road. Ryan Bird with a tire going down.
Tire going down on the 49, and he is already driven past the pit road entry. So now Ryan Bird is about to lose a lot of time on the racetrack right here. He's going to need to get down to the inside line to make sure he can get on to pit road this time by. Currently on pit road, the 0-1 of Aaron Kralik, the 9 of Stephen Clapp. Those two are making their pit stops at the moment. This time the 49 will come down. The rest of the race leaders still out on track.
That's going to leave us with the top 4. Brandon Gass, Larry Yingling, Nolan Hicks, Josh Kanata, drivers yet to pit, working lap number 54 of 160 out here tonight. Brandon Gass currently the race leader, but for how long?
All right, continuing to monitor the situation, Larry Yingling in, I'm not sure why that is showing 2 names right there, but we have a speeding penalty for Stephen Clapp in the 9, caught on pit road at the moment. Larry Yingling comes down on the pit lane in the 67. That is going to leave the top 3 drivers out on track, 2 of which, Brandon Gass, Josh Kanata, both came down on that lap 1 yellow, interestingly enough, Tom. Nolan Hicks being the sole driver who has not pit at any point in tonight's event up to this point in that 86. He currently runs 4 seconds off of our race leader, Brandon Gass, in the 29. Brandon Gass is running 2 seconds slower than his fastest time in this race. 15 laps ago, the race leader was over 3 seconds off of his fastest lap. I am not sure how Brandon Gass has managed the run that he has now, finally coming down on pit road here on lap 57 of 160, but kudos to that 29, and kudos to the 86 of Nolan Hicks, the 16 of Josh Kanata. Those two still chugging along out here on track. Nolan Hicks in that Taco Bell machine, trying to see how far he can take that Toyota Supra down into turns 3 and 4 right here. Has not pit a single time this evening. Now it is finally go time. Lap 57 of 160 puts the 86 as well as the 16 and the 29 at the very least in position to make this a 2-stop race. All right, as it sits, 1 driver remains to complete this sequence of pit stops. It's the 16, that bright green Trevor Project Toyota Supra of Josh Kanata. We heard from him earlier tonight through the technical difficulties that the admin team had to deal with, getting the second session put up right here. Josh Kanata now in control of this race. Lap 59, still waiting on his first pit stop in this sequence right here. Technically his second pit stop. He did pit on lap 2 after that caution at the start of the race, but that is going to give him a handful of extra laps of fuel over the rest, and as long as he's managing those tires, he can continue chugging along. Is that 16 coming down this time, though? Yes, indeed. 59 is as far as the 16 can go. He is going to have the best tires for the entire second stint.
All right, so now Josh Ganada ran just about 60 laps out here, ran longer than anybody else. Other drivers out on track, Chris Stitz has recycled back to the race lead. He last pitted on lap number 39. Mike Miller in second place. He's got 7 lap better tires. Jarrett Talmadge, lap number 50 is when these drivers came down. So as this run and as this race goes along here, Arie, especially if we stay green flag racing, this is going to be really interesting to see if these drivers try to merge these strategies at some point throughout tonight's race.
All right, Tom, I want to take an aerial look real quick at the track right now. Take a look at just how spread out this field has become. This race has gone into, I like to call it early 2000s mode. This is very reminiscent of I don't know, you pick a race anytime from 2001 to maybe 2006 or so. You get these really long green flag runs. The tires would wear out significantly. You'd have tire strategies, pit strategies, fuel strategies all over the place, and you don't even know who to follow, what to follow anymore, because it is all up in the air until the race starts to come to a close. That is where we are at this point, as Chris Stitz leads this field in the 17. Mike Miller currently runs P2, Jarrett Talmadge in P3. The pit lap difference for the top 3, 39 for Chris Stitz, 46 for Mike Miller, lap 50 for Jarrett Talmadge. You go back to Thomas Green, lap 39. Josh Stovall, lap 46. You go back a little bit further, you get lap 54 from Larry Yingling, 56 from Brandon Gass. These drivers are all over the place on their differing strategies. There's a number of these drivers, Tom, who are not going to be able to make this in only 2 stops.
Yeah, and that's going to be where it gets interesting, but what do you do, right? I mean, if you're Chris Stitz, if you're a driver like Thomas Green, do you I mean, you're going to have to come down, but that's 20 laps. That's a 20 lap window, assuming that these drivers can stay out what they did on the first run here, where if a caution comes out, you're going to be caught a lap down, and that's a pretty big window. Usually we talk about 2 or 3 laps, Arie, when we talk about green flag pit stops. That's not the case here.
No, it's not. And one thing that I'm starting to notice right here, the thought is just kind of occurring to me. We were talking about over 3 seconds of fall off when the tires get bad. You know, this might actually be one of those situations, Tom, where that extra pit stop might still be faster because you're spending more time on better tires.
Yeah, I mean, your drivers are clicking off times right now as they run right now. Chris Stitz last time by 32 seconds, almost flat for Chris Stitz. You're only going to need about 10, 12 laps in order to make that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And given the fall off that we've seen from these machines, given the amount of flat tires that we have seen, oh my goodness, Mike Miller, what a save. Fantastic angle right there of that 99, keeping that car on track. All of those practice laps paying off for that 99 machine. But back to my point, it made me lose my train of thought on that one. But with all the tire issues that we've seen tonight, I feel like if I'm out there on track right now, Tom, I don't hate what I'm seeing out of the likes of Chris Stitz in the 17, Mike Miller in the 99, having that additional pit stop and making use of those tires just a little bit more.
Well, we'll see how it all comes together. It has a magic way of all coming together by about lap number 160 out here this evening. Mike Miller is going to slide up to the outside line. Noah Steele tries to make a pass on the inside. He's going to be a lap down or so, but he's going to take a look to the outside for the race lead of Chris Stitz, as Noah Steele's going to give a courtesy to the race leader for the time being. By the time they come off turn number 2, Miller on the outside makes the pass for the race lead on Stitz.
All right, new leader for the first time tonight in Fort Worth, Texas. It's the 99 of Mike Miller running all the way up the racetrack, all the way against the wall in the past couple of laps. Driver out of Tampa, Florida. He has been putting in the work, putting in the time, lap after lap. Week in and week out, this 99 car has the most laps down in the practice hour before these Monday night events, and it is very cool to see that sort of dedication pay off as Mike Miller goes up here and takes the lead on pace alone.
I hate to say it, Arie, it may not be for long, because a driver with 4 lap better tires, that's going to be the 27 Camaro, Jarrett Talmadge. He's quickly got Chris Stitz on the front end of that 27, and we're going to have a battle here for second place, probably in the next quarter of a lap or so. And then Jared Talmadge is going to set his sights on Mike Miller. But good to see the 99 up front leading some laps out here tonight. Fast in practice. Not a great qualifying effort for Mike Miller, but having a great run, managing his tires out here tonight as we're about to begin lap number 70.
That he is, and to the inside goes Talmadge in the 27. That is going to be a move done and away pretty quick as Chris Stitz is unable to fight that one. That's an 11-lap difference on the tires right there as Talmadge moves up into P2 and sets his sights on the race leader, Mike Miller, in that 99. A little further back, Clint Cox in that 03. This is a driver that also pit on lap 50, same time as Jared Talmadge. He's lost a little bit of track position, but let's not forget, Tom, that at the end of that first run, Clint Cox was significantly faster than Jared Talmadge on track. He had taken care of his tires a lot better, so I'll be curious to see if that trend continues for the 03.
Working lap number 70, about to complete 70 here. Mike Miller still in the race lead, but for how long? That is the question. Jared Talmadge quickly closing in now within 0.3 of a second of the race leader, and we will likely see a pass for the race lead here in just a moment. Miller still using that outside lane here. Jared Talmadge on the inside lane trying to carry the short end of the speedway around here for the 27 for the time being. Miller still protects the race lead, but now Clint Cox going to take a look down into the inside. Chris Stitz going to lose another position, put the 17 back in fourth.
There we are then. Clint Cox up to P3. That, again, is an 11-lap tire difference back there in that battle as we watch now the two race leaders doing battle. Now, one thing of note right here, despite the tire difference, Mike Miller running the outside lanes right here is going to consistently be giving him the momentum down these straightaways. That's going to make the job for Jared Talmadge just a little more difficult trying to get this pass done. I think the 27 can do it. He probably has enough in that 4-lap tire advantage, but it's not going to be as simple as it was making that move on the 17.
And you see Mike Miller on the outside still trying to protect the race lead, but it may be too far gone here for the 99. He's going to get a good run, though, here through the apex, so be interesting to see if the 27 is going to slide up in front. Yes, he is. New race leader Jared Talmadge takes the lead. Lap number 73 out here. Remember, he's got 4-lap better tires than Mike Miller. Clint Cox in the 03, though. He's the next driver on the same pit lap as Jared Talmadge.
All right, so the race lead changes hands once again at the moment. Looking through the field, no particularly close battles at the moment. Closest one, we can go back here to Samuel Garcia in P15. Looking to put some pressure on Cody Reed in the 25. Nolan Hicks in the 86 just behind. He was one of the last drivers to come down on pit road on lap 57. Did that 86. He is on a 2-stop strategy here this evening, but currently Nolan Hicks finds himself 16.5 seconds behind the race leader. So that's going to be interesting. Oh, contact as Samuel Garcia gets clipped in the left rear on corner entry. Somehow keeps that machine straight, and we stay green as we queue up a replay. Let's take a look.
On the entry into turn number 3 down here, Sam Garcia, Nolan Hicks fighting for the position. They got Cody Reed up on the outside, so the space is limited, but contact between the 86 and the 50. The 50 of Sam Garcia does a really nice job to hang on to that car and not cause a yellow flag or slow the pace out here tonight. Let's take another look at it here. So we got the 50 on the inside. We are going warp speed. Sam Garcia, little bit of contact there, right front, left rear, and that's the result of it.
That it is. And speaking of that Apex 50 machine, we are closing in on the halfway mark in this race, and current leader Jared Talmadge looks to secure that bonus in the 27 machine. A little further back, Mike Miller under pressure from Clint Cox in the 03. This right here, again, is going to be a 4-lap tire advantage for the 03 as he pit at the same time as Talmadge in the 27. Move Clint Cox up to P2. Miller down to 3rd. Cedric Hunter a little further back has made his way around the 17 of Stitz. Cedric Hunter pit on lap 51, so he has 1-lap advantage on the 2 race leaders at the moment.
I'm going to be interested here, Arie, to see what Mike Miller is able to do on this run. He's 4 laps. He's got 4-lap older tires than the 2 in front of him here. This may just be a net gain by the time the pit window opens up again. They last pitted on lap number 50, so, you know, if we stay linear here, we're looking at about another 22 laps before they come down. Mike Miller pitted on lap number 46, so we would expect to see the 99 on pit road on or around lap number 90 or so. So that's going to go from a 4-lap difference of tires to likely maybe 7 or 8 laps by the time we get to the next round of green flags.
Yeah, something to keep our eye on for sure, but this battle doesn't look like it's over yet. Clint Cox is not driven away from Mike Miller as quickly as maybe we might have expected right there, whether that's Clint Cox taking it easy or whether that's Mike Miller starting to step up the pace just a little bit remains to be seen. But as it stands, that 27 machine of Jarrett Talmadge continues to lead this race. That 98 car just behind, that's Isaac Shelley. First driver 1 lap down in the lucky dog position should a caution come out, potentially eyeing getting that lap back the old-fashioned way. He's got 1 lap better tires than the 27, but not able to really put the pressure on the race leader. And of course, being a lap down car, you're not going to fight the leader as hard as if you were in P2. Through 3 and 4 goes Jarrett Talmadge in the 27. We are working the halfway point in this race. Lap 80 of 160. And to the line, Jarrett Talmadge is going to lead and secure the Apex 50 halfway bonus. Looking for a fun and relatable sim racing content? SG_racing as you covered. Check out Sam Garcia's Apex 50 on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. And we just got a good look of it a couple laps ago when Sam Garcia in that 50 had an incredible save, as we now jump down to pit road with the 17.
The 17 and the 38, both drivers on pit road as we open up the window for the second round of green flag stops out here tonight. 1 caution for cause on lap number 1. Ryan Kelly and Noah Steele involved in that on lap number 1. Both those drivers back out on track. Looks like we've got 26 of the 27 drivers still in contention out here tonight. Couple drivers a few laps down, but halfway through tonight's race, Arie, we've seen a little bit of everything. Tire strategy, tire wear, tire fall off, and we've seen the Jarrett Talmadge up front just kind of managing it really well here in the second stage. We don't see anybody really closing in on him. We thought maybe Clint Cox might have been the driver to take a stab at it as he pitted on the same lap as Jarrett Talmadge. Hasn't happened just yet.
Not yet, as we continue to monitor a couple of the battles going on throughout the field. Thomas Green going to be passed up by Brandon Gass in the 29. Now, Brandon Gass, I think, is going to be one of the names that we have to really keep our eyes on through the remainder of this race. That 29 car was one of the latest drivers to make their final pit stop on that first sequence. Brandon Gass came down on lap 56. That is better than every single driver ahead of him in the running order. He is only 8.8 seconds behind race leader Jarrett Talmadge at the moment, and in position to make it on 2 pit stops to the end pretty comfortably. So watching that 29 as we jump back up towards the front. Mike Miller currently in P3, but not for long, because Cedric Hunter in the Hello Kitty machine looking to take over this position. That is a 5-lap tire advantage for the 7. And oh, by the way, Cedric Hunter does have a tire advantage of about a lap over the top 2.
He does. He does have about 2.6 seconds that he's going to need to close in order to catch up to the race leaders. He's got Clint Cox directly in front of him here. So we'll see if he's able to close this gap here. My fear for Cedric is that these drivers, Jarrett Talmadge and Clint Cox, may hit pit road before he's able to close that. Gap. But up at the front of the field, it has been Jarrett Talmadge, as it has been for the majority of the second run out here this evening. Clint Cox 1.8 seconds back. The top 3 is Cedric Hunter. The top 5 is rounded out by Mike Miller and Scott Richter.
I keep bouncing around to these two back here, Samuel Garcia, Cody Reed, because they're consistently the closest battle out here on track, but they just can't seem to get away from one another. Sam Garcia is not giving it up. Cody Reed can't quite get there, and it looks like he is looking low, looking high, looking for every opportunity that he might be able to find. Can the 25 finally make the move right here for P12? He's been hounding the rear bumper of Samuel Garcia for I don't even know how long at this point. Lap after lap, I've been monitoring that gap. A little further back in the field, you can see just how loose the 25 gets.
And you could just see just how much they're sliding around here, Arie. And every time you're going to do that, it's going to hurt the tires a little bit more. So we'll see if he's able to make the pass. I do like the outside line. If you're a little bit on the looser side, gives you a little bit more room to work. You kind of control how much room the car on the inside has to work with. But these drivers certainly fighting the wheels out here tonight.
That they are. Driver 25, driver 50. Both, coincidentally enough, representing two of our main sponsors out here in the Trinity Racing League every Monday evening. It looks like Cody Reed might have the advantage down into turn 1, using that momentum. We'll see what he can do down the back straightaway right here, but it looks like this might just be enough to clear. No, it's not. Sam Garcia not ready to give it up quite yet.
Sam Garcia is doing a really good job down on the inside line. Usually in the beginning of the run, the inside line is going to be the preferred line. As it goes along, I like to be on the outside, and Cody Reed showing the power of the outside line. Right now, he's able to tentatively make the pass. He's going to be as far ahead as he has been over the last couple of laps, put Cody Reed up into the 12th place position, move Sam Garcia down into 13th.
There we go then. The Larry Arts production Toyota Supra moves up one more position in the running order, finally gets that move done. We'll see if Cody Reed, with that pass done and away with, can start to move up a little further. Josh Stovall from P8 is going to come down on pit road this time around as we ride on board with Clint Cox, currently running in P2 and about to be under pressure from the 7 of Cedric Hunter. That Hello Kitty machine is not one you want to see in your rear view mirror today in Texas.
So now you start to see the difference in one-lap tires here. Clint Cox has actually lost a little bit of time here. He was about 1.8, 1.9 seconds back off of Jarrett Talmadge a couple of laps ago. He started to go back. Cedric Hunter trying to fight for the battle for second right now. Other drivers with tire issues right now, Arie. Mike Miller being shown the black flag, has to come down on pit road.
I have a feeling that might be a speeding penalty.
You know what? You might be right, because previously it was a damage flag that we were seeing. This one is just a straight up black flag. So possibly speeding on pit road for Mike Miller as he is in his box now. 17, 18, 19 seconds and counting.
That it is. Let me at least get the correct graphic on screen right there. There we go. Mike Miller with that speeding penalty. Not what you want to see out of the 99. He was having a fantastic race. We'll see if he can get a timely caution at some point from here to the end to help him out the rest of the way. But as it sits, Cedric Hunter is going to move up into P2. And I tell you what, this go-around, that 27 of Talmadge has done a much better job on those tires, a much better job keeping himself in control of this race. He currently has a 3-second advantage over P2. And the next big tire advantage from Talmadge is going to be Brandon Gass back in P4 in that 29 machine, who is 8.3 seconds off of the race leader, and with 6 laps difference on the tires. I'm looking at these pit lap times, and I want to say Jarrett Talmadge is probably just within the window of being able to make it on only 2 stops, but I don't know. It's going to be a little close, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna. I don't know. I mean, even if you can make it, right? I mean, I think it's going to be a difficult thing to try to come down and try to stretch this out. Especially, I think we may see some drivers maybe start to think about what you were saying before, because you do only need 10, 12 laps. They are still running. Well, I guess this time they're running about 2.5 seconds off of what they ran for their qualifying, for their best laps out here right now. Best laps for Jarrett Talmadge was a 30.3. Last time by was a 32.8. So consistently slower. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to make the 2 stop at the end worth it.
Absolutely, and as it sits, Brandon Gass is putting in lap times faster than the 3 drivers ahead of him on track, which is what you're going to expect out of that 29, given the tire advantage. We know Brandon Gass is, at this point, committed to a 2-stop strategy in this race, so he is only going to make 1 more pit stop. We're just waiting to find out if drivers like Talmadge, Hunter, and Cox can make it on only 1 more pit stop. They might need to stretch things out a little more than they might feel comfortable doing, or if they're going to have to bite the bullet and make a 3rd pit stop.
As we cycle around here, working lap number 96 of the circuit of the Lone Star 240 out here tonight, I want to give a quick shout out to the title sponsor out here, helping the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network stay on the airwaves every single Monday night. Larry Arts Production is a comedy variety YouTube channel with content from stop motion videos, vlogs, live streams, and more. Head on over to Larry Arts Productions and check out all the insanity that Larry produces over on YouTube. Go on over, give him a subscribe, and big thanks to all of the partners here at the Trinity Racing League, helping us come out every Monday night and bring you the action.
Taking some good static shots from around the racetrack right now. The entire field spread out around this 1.5 mile circuit in Fort Worth, Texas. I honestly, I'm pretty nostalgic for this type of racing, Tom. I've got to say, this early 2000s style, the entire field spread out around the track. The green flag run is longer than you can count, and you just don't know how everything's going to come together in 30, 40, 50 laps time.
It is nice, you know. I mean, usually now with the norm being stages, you get a caution every 40, 50 laps, depending on what track you're at, right? And that kind of brings the field a little bit closer on strategy, but it leaves less options for these drivers. And tonight we're seeing options play out from the front of the field to the back of the field as these drivers continue to try to make that determination of when to push, when to save, and what they need to do in order to make their car be the fastest at the end of a green flag run. Justin Campbell looks like he's going to try to take a spot away, and does successfully, from Ryan Bird in the 49 Camaro down into the south end of the Speedway. Put Justin Campbell up to 11th. We saw Justin before. He was one of the drivers that was making his way forward, but had an issue with, I want to say it was Nolan Hicks, maybe about 40 laps ago, and lost all that ground that he had made up.
Yeah, Justin Campbell trying to recover from that. I find it pretty interesting. Justin Campbell is actually on 4-lap older tires than Ryan Bird in the 49, and yet he made that pass look so easy, as though that was reversed and he had the tire advantage. So Justin Campbell, he's got some speed in that machine, making it work even on the older tires. Oh, contact!
Ryan Bird's going to go around on the backstretch, contact with the inside wall. We stay green here. Issues for the 49 on the exit of turn number 2. He's going to get into, I want to say it was the outside of the 17 of Chris Stitz. We'll grab a replay of this here real quick, but let's take a look here. You see, we're going to have to back this up here just a smidge. All right, so Ryan Bird on the inside of turns 1 and 2 here. He's got Chris Stitz trying to make the pass up on the outside. That may have just been a little bit of a misjudgment there.
Oh my goodness.
I think maybe he thought Chris Stitz was going to have enough momentum to clear him by the time he came back up on the exit of 2. Not the case.
I want to see how close the 49 got to hitting that inside wall, because I don't think he touched it. But boy, oh boy, was that close, as we are going to slow it down right here and maybe get a look from the blimp as he gets all the way down to the inside wall. I don't see any sparks. That's about as close as you can cut it.
That's a 10 out of 10, you know, just having to take a little bit of an off prime line, but drivers continuing their hunt for the trophy out here tonight. Justin Campbell, the next driver to come down on pit road. He had made his way up to about the 11th place. He's going to give up some spots for the advantage of some good years.
All right, watching our race leader through turns 1 and 2. Still 3-second advantage over Cedric Hunter in P2. 6 2.2 seconds back to Brandon Gass in the 29, one of the gaps that we have been monitoring. So here we go, Tom. This is the question we have been wondering. Can Talmadge, Hunter, and Cox make it on only one more stop to the end? They have needed to stretch this run just a little bit, and once they get to lap 105, I think they're in a good window, because 105 is 55 laps from when Talmadge last came down on pit road. It is also 55 laps to go in the race. So now we know these drivers can indeed make it on one pit stop to the end from this point on. We're just going to be monitoring the difference in pit lap, the difference in tires from the likes of drivers like Jared Talmadge versus Brandon Gass, or even Nolan Hicks, who's even better off further back.
Well, we're starting to see drivers start to get those meatball flags and be mandated to come down pit road. Cody Reed last time by, he was given the meatball flag for a tire going down on the 25. He pits, and he's going to roll out of pit road in 20 seconds. So now we're in that window that we're going to start to see what we saw in the first run, but drivers have that little knowledge in the back of their mind here. Now we know when that's going to happen. So we'll see. Jared Thomas is going to stay out at least another lap here, as he's going to lead lap number 106 to bring us to 107. I tell you what, Arie, last couple of times by, Cedric Hunter has slowly closed in that gap. He's been hundredths of a second faster than the race leader of Talmadge, but faster nonetheless.
That he has, as these drivers continue to circulate around the track. So Talmadge not splitting this run, electing to run it out as far as he can, or at least a couple of laps past that 55 mark right there. Still going to stay out on track, so we're going to see Talmadge, maybe even Hunter, Cox, and the rest just going to stay out as long as they can, try and get back in touch with some of the drivers a little further back, the Brandon Gasses, the Larry Yinglings, the Nolan Hicks of the world, try and get that tire discrepancy a little more manageable so that by the time the race is coming to a close, they're not on such a disadvantage.
Last time by, once again, a 10th faster for Cedric Hunter. Jared Talmadge, he's going to stay out for another lap here. And the longer he stays out here, the more I like this, because now he's looking at 50 laps, which is what he did on the first run. So he's extended this into a 59, now almost 60 lap run to lap number 109, heading back on over. Taking a look at Clint Cox, he's one of the drivers who also put on lap number 50.
What is going on? We hop over to Clint Cox, you say his name, and he gets about sideways through turns 2 right there, not to cut you off, Tom, but Clint Cox struggling in that 0-3 as Brandon Gass makes it look easy. As Clint Cox has to come down. He might have a tire getting ready to go down. He is fortunately going to make it down on pit road in time.
Yeah, that's about as good of a spot on the track that could possibly happen for Clint Cox. He's able to bring that 0-3 Ford Mustang down onto pit road, 50 miles an hour across the entirety of pit road. Jared Talmadge stays out here. Now the gap between first place and second, now 2.6 seconds. Cedric Hunter still continuing to be faster, but the leader is pitting here. Jared Talmadge comes down on pit road. We'll see how Cedric Hunter responds, and he's going to follow him down.
All right, top 2 come down onto pit road. This time by, they get on clean, and that's going to give the lead to the 29 car Brandon Gass, back in control of the race once again, just like at the tail end of the first pit stop sequence. So we'll see what Brandon Gass can do with this clean air right here. It's probably going to be a handful more laps before we see that 29 machine down on pit road. And dare I say it, Tom, this has been a 106 or so lap green flag run. A caution would change everything, and actually Brandon Gass is going to come down on pit road only 1 lap later than the previous top 2.
He's going to be joined by Nolan Hicks, Ali Fonseca, Aaron Krolick, and more drivers. But Larry Yingling, he's going to stay out for the time being. We've got Chris Stitz in second. Thomas Green, who we saw have an issue with tires on the first go-around for green flag pit stops. He's made his way back up into the top 3, courtesy of the green flag pit stops. But we'll see when these drivers like to come down. I'm a little surprised that we saw that we saw Brandon Gass come down just 1 lap after these leaders here. I got to think if you're a couple of seconds back, you need to do something a little bit different than these drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The one thought that's occurring to me is maybe those drivers who stayed out way longer the first time decided that being undercut by 8, 10, 12, 16 seconds was just too much to overcome, and they didn't want to have that much of a discrepancy. That might be one of those situations where the undercut is actually more valuable than having the better tires on the long run, as it looks like everyone now has made their second pit stop of the evening. Now we're in a position here, Tom, where we've got a handful of drivers who cannot make it to the end without another pit stop, and another handful of drivers who are set to go all the way to the finish. So we've got some differing strategies right here, starting with race leader Chris Stitz in the 17. This includes Thomas Green in the 3 car, just behind, who also will need to come down at least one more time. Josh Kanata actually in P3 has not made his second pit stop on the evening, nor has Ryan Bird in P7, so lots of different strategies to manage.
Yeah, so the top 7 right now have not come down onto pit road. Jarrett Talmadge in 8th. He's going to be the effective race leader by the time this next round of green flag pit stops starts the cycle around. What could really work here, Arie, for the top 7 is I mean, they're 16 seconds back. Jarrett Talmadge is 16.7 seconds back on the race leader. We get an do we dare say it? We get an untimely caution here. That's going to allow these drivers to come down on pit road. And with the tire where we've seen tonight, I got to imagine that Jarrett Talmadge, Cedric Hunter, Clint Cox, drivers that we just saw come down on pit road 5 laps ago, maybe even that, would follow suit.
Yeah, I feel like the tires are at an all-time premium here. I think anytime a caution comes out, the entire field has to come down regardless. I think even if I've run, 3 or 4 green flag laps, I probably still want those tires. I think it seems to be the case out here this evening that they're at that much of a premium. So we'll see. We've made it this far into the race with only the lap 1 incident caution. Could go green the rest of the way as it sits. We're working lap 117 out of 160. Currently watching Josh Kanata, the last driver on track to not have made a second pit stop on the evening. This will be Kanata's final pit stop whenever he does make it. One of the 2 stoppers in tonight's event. He has just been stretching it out for about as long as you can imagine. Finally brings it down on pit road here on lap 118. Does the 16, and now we can switch our focus for the entire field to the 3rd and final pit stop for at least the top 5.
Yeah, Christopher Norris, currently last pit stop for Christopher Norris, going to be on lap number 80. He rounds out the top 5 as they run right now. Jarrett Talmadge, they're starting to close in the difference here, Arie. They were about 16 seconds back when they rolled out of pit road and started moving again. Now they're sub 12 seconds here. They're not closing as fast as I would have expected them to be here, which opens up the window for an untimely caution to come out. And now at this point, they are 110, 119. They're 9 laps into a run. They're in a dangerous spot right here, because if we do get that yellow flag, it is going to have to bring them down.
That it is, and I think we're about to see the 17 come down, and the 3. I was just about to say we're getting to about lap 120. 40 laps to the end would be a healthy amount. Wow, Thomas Green got sideways. Did indeed get it slowed down enough. Fantastic job from driver number 3 to avoid that speeding penalty. Chris Norris in the 38 comes down as well. These drivers are going to give themselves about 40 laps to the end on 4 fresh Goodyears to try and chase down Jarrett Talmadge and company. The 3 stoppers versus the 2 stoppers is coming into play as the lead is handed over to the 05 of Scott Rickard, the 1 of Josh Stovall. These 2 are also in the 3-stop camp, and they are going to stretch it at least a lap or 2 further.
Scott Rickard in the 05 going to see the lead for the first time out here tonight. Clicks off his second lap lead of tonight's event, the Lone Star 240 from the Trinity Racing League. He's got Josh Stovall waiting in the wings in that 1 Chevy Camaro. The only other driver out on track, these top 2, the only other driver, Josh Stovall, Scott Rickard, yet to make their final stop They last pitted on lap number 90, and as it is right now, they have about an 11-lap advantage, make it 12 at the line, over Jared Talmadge, who is now within 5 seconds of catching these leaders.
That is the situation as it stands. We are 3 wide, just behind, as the 50 and the 3 make their way around the slower 1 car of Josh Stovall. Thomas Green is going to be pushing all out the rest of this race. A part of the 3 stoppers has those fresh tires, needs to make up that gap towards the rest. So let's paint this picture real quick. Chris Stitz has come off of pit road. That 17 car is actually no longer the leader of the 3 stoppers. It's Thomas Green, who is able to jump the 17 with a significantly faster pit road time. Chris Stitz was parked in the box for 21 seconds, Tom.
I wonder, I don't know if that counts time, that maybe if you slide the box, if it counts that. Maybe there was a little bit of a slide for Chris Stitz, but yeah, about 5 seconds slower in the box for Chris Stitz in the 17, but that allows, so all right, so now this is interesting here.
We got to do some math here.
I don't look at me. You got
okay.
Don't
all
look
right.
at me. You're the one with the whiteboard.
Let's I do got a whiteboard. Let's figure this out. So Thomas Green, currently in P13, is leading the 3 stopper strategy. If he wants to use this strategy to win this race, he is going to have his eyes set on Jared Talmadge in the 27 machine. Jared Talmadge is currently sitting, let's see, I'm going to need to jump to the 17 for just a moment. Jared Talmadge is sitting 31. Oh, I've got Chris Stitz right here. That is not the 3 car of Thomas Green. Excuse me, Jared Talmadge is 23 seconds ahead of the 3 car of Thomas Green. We have, what is that, 35 laps left? I don't know what that comes out to. Let me pull out my calculator. I'll figure that out in just a moment.
We'll wait.
I think it comes out to about 7/10 of a second per lap.
I believe you. We'll go with that. Now with just over 30 laps to go out here, Scott Richter continues to stay out, but Jared Talmadge going to be directly on the back bumper of Scott Richter here. This is going to be the battle for the overall race lead, but more importantly, Jared Talmadge. The next car that Jared Talmadge is racing against is going to be Cedric Hunter, who is about a second behind, so a little bit of a net gain here for Cedric Hunter. On this round of green flag pit stops last time, when he came down, he was, I want to say, about 2.4, 2.5 seconds back, and Cedric Hunter has been able to close in within a second of Jared Talmadge here as they work through some lap traffic, or lap traffic maybe works around them, maybe the better way to say it. Cedric Hunter.
Oh, that's position.
Yes,
okay.
Not for position.
We are going to try and figure this out right here. Here we go. 7/10 of a second is what's needed per lap for Thomas Green to catch Jared Talmadge and battle for the race win with an additional pit stop. We're going to see as Thomas Green crosses the line here what that lap time comes out to be. But over the last 4 laps that are on there, it has indeed been more than 7/10 of a second. This time by 1.0 seconds. If Thomas Green can stay above that 7/10 of a second mark through the rest of the run, he should get to the 27, but it's not that simple, is it, Tom? Because as the run goes on, the tires start to equalize a little bit more, and if you're Thomas Green, you've got to make sure that you don't burn your stuff up too much trying to close that gap lap in, lap out.
Yeah, he's got a 9-lap advantage here. The next driver with any sort of advantage is actually going to be Josh Kanata. He's got a 7-lap advantage over the race leaders. They, for the most part, they pitted on lap number 109, 110 for the race leaders, a couple of them. Looks like Larry Yingling pitted on like lap number 112. But Thomas Green, 119, Josh Kanata, 117. That's where the advantage is going to come in. I mean, we saw the effects of just 1 lap better tires. We'll see if 7 and 9 laps is enough to close this gap here, but I mean, he's faster. He's doing the delta that he needs to do right now. He just needs to maintain it over the next 30 laps, and I think that's going to be the struggle.
That it is, as we watch Josh Stovall do battle with Scott Richter at the moment, coming out of turn 4 all over the rear bumper. Both of these drivers pit on the same exact lap. Those battle for position heating up as we hit 30 laps to go in tonight's event. Stovall is going to get that run to the outside. Going to try and take that momentum, maybe use Clint Cox as a pick. We're going to go 3 wide and split the slower Ford Mustang as Scott Richter continues to run that inside line. It looks like he's going to be cleared by Stovall in the 1.
Yeah, Stovall in the 1, able to make the pass on both of those cars. On the entry into turn number 3, heading on back over. One of the closer battles happening out on track right now. Cody Reed, Justin Campbell, these drivers, I feel like they've been around each other all night long here at Texas Motor Speedway, the old legacy Texas Motor Speedway that these drivers are battling around here. Chris Stitz now within the camera frame, and he's going to be looking to put the nose of that 17 3 wide on the entrance at 3. We're going to get close as we make it out of 4 without issue.
What a move from Chris Stitz. We're going to need to queue up a replay right there. Let's ride on board. No, let's really ride on board with Chris Stitz.
Does he got Frosty on the nose of that car?
He might.
We'll look at that.
Wow. That is what Carson Hocevar wishes he could do. Through turns 3 and 4 right there. Chris Stitz making it work. I say that as a Carson Hocevar fan. Anyway, move the 17 up to P11 on the track as one of our 3 stoppers continues to work his way up the field. Unfortunately, lost out on pit road to the 3 car of Thomas Green, so that puts him second of the 3 stoppers on track. Thomas Green still running in P8. He's got that gap to the leader down to 17 seconds as we run across the line this time. I tell you what, why don't we bring up our board again? And that is not what you want to see if you are driver number 3, but I feel like this was only a matter of time in which we were going to see this happen, Tom, where the lap times just start to equalize out. You can have a tire advantage, but the longer you go, you're not going to keep the super crazy advantage. It is going to kind of come back down to earth, and now there's not a single time 0.7 of a second or better.
Well, while we have this up, Arie, let's also grab in Larry Yingling in here, because Larry Yingling is he's going to be about 8 seconds back off of the race leader Jarrett Talmadge last time by. Yeah, they've been kind of fluctuating, faster here, faster there. So Larry Yingling, I think he's going to need some help if he wants to find victory lane out here tonight, as we got 25 laps to go in the Lone Star 240. But great top 5 run going for the 67.
Yeah, this last time by, Jarrett Talmadge, the race leader, was the fastest driver in the top 7 on the racing surface. So it looks like that 27 car has this race under control as it stands. 24 laps remaining in the Lone Star 240. He's got 2 seconds back to Cedric Hunter in P2. He's kind of kept that 2-second gap pretty comfortably all through that second run. Now he's back to that 2-second gap here in this third run. I'd be curious to know as to if this race would have gone differently had Cedric Hunter not started so far back in the pack. Jarrett Talmadge started P3. Cedric Hunter started P17, I want to say, 17 or 18. So if Cedric Hunter had nailed qualifying a little bit better, I wonder if he could be in a position to be leading this race right now.
I gotta wonder, though, are we seeing everything out of the 7? You see him very smooth through the corners. Let's take a listen to his throttle on the entry into turn number 3 and see if he lifts early. That's pretty early.
I'm going to crank up his volume just a little bit here.
Issues directly in front of the 7. Looks like is that Cody Reed on the inside?
It looks to be the 25. Let's see if we can queue up a replay. We stay green, but issues for Cody Reed. Potential contact with the 50 of Sam Garcia. Maybe. Oh, yep, there we go. Now there's contact. I think he might have just gotten the 25 loose with the air on the spoiler, but then sort of finished him off just a little bit. Great race car control right there from Cody Reed in the 25 to keep that thing straight, to keep it out of the fence, out of the other drivers. Unfortunately, the 25 is going to drop a couple of positions as a result. He's currently the first car one lap down in P18, but kudos to driver 25 for that save.
Yeah, he was loose. He was loose long before there was contact with the 50 there. So that's just a difficult situation. Not many opportunities for drivers to get out of the gas. And, you know, we can look at it 100 times in 100 different ways and say this could have happened or that could have happened. But these drivers are driving these vehicles out here and fighting, swatting flies behind these cars out here this evening. And they have one opportunity to make the right decision at 180 miles an hour.
That they do. Is now we see Josh Stovall in the 1. This is one of our 3 stoppers now making his way up through the field. He's going to get around Chris Stitz in the 17, which is notable. Stovall on a mission right now. That puts him inside of the top 10 as we run last pit on lap 126, which is better than everyone around him and ahead of him by quite the margin. 7 laps, if not more. Josh Stovall and Scott Richter in the 05. Both of those drivers are going to be hard charging all the way to the end of this event.
Last time by, Jarrett Talmadge with a 32.31, Cedric Hunter 32.45, so faster for current race leader Jarrett Talmadge in that Chevy Camaro, that 27, the points leader coming into tonight's event. Looks to become the first multiple winner here in the Trinity Racing League in this season, as we got a 3-wide battle starting to form up on the entry into turn number 1. Got Thomas Walter on the outside. Josh Kanata going to settle back out onto a 2-wide scenario, but Josh Stovall continues to march his way forward. Now we're starting to see cars come together here a little bit here, Arie, and this is where you have the opportunity for mistakes to happen. You don't give as many chances in the closing laps of the race.
No, you certainly don't, and man, just watching all of this action unfold right here as Stovall lines up the pass on the 99, this is not for position. Remember, Mike Miller had that speeding penalty a little earlier in the race that pretty much ended his shots at contention. Josh Stovall gets that spot. He can start to look ahead. Out his windshield, Nolan Hicks 6.2 seconds up the road. We'll see if he can get there before the end of the race. But back to what I was alluding to just a minute ago. Watching all of this action here, Tom, I've got to say it. Petition to put Legacy Texas on every schedule everywhere moving forward, because this has been a phenomenal race.
I think motion granted for that. At the front of the field, Jarrett Talmadge, Cedric Hunter was about 2 seconds back a couple of laps ago. Now we're going to see 15 laps to go next time by, and that gap is now open from 2 seconds to just under 3 seconds here as Jarrett Talmadge going to cross the start-finish line. See 15 laps remaining here in the Lone Star 240 from the Trinity Racing League. And I think Jarrett Talmadge, every single run here, Arie, we saw in stage 1, we saw in the first green flag run, him start to slide back towards the end of the first run. The second one, he was able to manage it. And this one, he's pulling away.
Yeah, I think Jarrett Talmadge has gotten better with every single run in the race. Learned a lot on that first run when he used up the tires just a little bit too much and found himself falling like a rock, dropping anchor in a big way. He got that corrected for the second stint of the race, held his own, gained control of the race. And here in the third stint, he's really put his foot down and pulled away. He's run and hide, as they say, and the 49 is going to get into the wall just a little bit. That battle just ahead, that's the final spot on the lead lap between Sammy Garcia and Ryan Bird. Garcia is going to get that into 50, and now both are going to be under pressure from the 27 of Talmadge.
Yeah, difficult spot to be in here because you don't want to slow up the leader. You don't want to affect the outcome of the race. But if a caution comes out, you also want to be in front of them, because that's going to be the difference between pitting with the lead lap vehicles and having to drive around and start at the tail end of the wave arounds or of the free pass cars. So there is an advantage here for Sam Garcia and Ryan Bird to stay in front of him. And as it is right now, it doesn't seem to be affecting the 27 too much.
No, and Jared Talmadge has a 3.1 second gap to Cedric Hunter and growing, even despite sitting behind these two ahead of him. So Talmadge is not going to be in a rush to go up there and lap these two. If anything, maybe he might feel the need to just get out of the firing zone right there. If they were to get together, 27 couldn't get involved. He's going to make that move on Garcia and start to pick these guys off so he can get himself into a safer spot for the final 11 laps.
11 laps to go out here tonight. One caution for incident, and it happened early. Lap number 1, the exit of turn number 2. Ryan Kelly went around off the nose of, I want to say it was the 49. Somebody fact check me on that. One caution out here this evening, and it has been green flag racing since then. And we've seen tires fall off. Big slide for the 49, a bird directly in front of the race leader, Jared Talmadge. That doesn't make, if I'm Jared, that doesn't make me feel too good.
No, it doesn't, but I think it's got to be said as Talmadge comes through 3 and 4 to see 10 laps remaining here. He's going to put the 49 one lap down this go around. But I think it needs to be said, the amount of saves that we have seen out of the Trinity Racing League field here tonight in Texas, the amount of car control out of these drivers has been nothing shy of extraordinary. So big kudos to every single one of these drivers out here in the field tonight, because I have seen a lot of very impressive car control.
Let's jump back here a little bit. We got a battle starting to heat up. Thomas Green just got around Arie Fonseca. Battle for the 6th place position. So Thomas Green continues his march forward with the tire advantage now. He's going to be about 6 seconds back off of the next car for position. That's going to be Larry Yingling, and that would be for a top 5 finishing spot out here. 9 laps to go, under 6 seconds to get there. Does he have enough time? I would say he might have enough time to get to the 67 of Yingling, but it's all going to depend on what he experiences between here and the 67.
Yeah, he's going to have to improve his lap times, that's for sure. And Fonseca pressuring him surely won't help. He sticks a nose on the inside. Both of them are going to be run up the racetrack. Both of them sideways through turn 4, trying to get the grip down. And Fonseca not ready to give up this position. Tries to stick a nose in again. Gets the nose cut off by Thomas Green. And now you can see the 24 drifting up the track just a little bit in that dirty air wake. He is going to get the run with the draft down the back straightaway. Does Fonseca make a move? He looks for it. It gets cut off again. Can he get a good line through 3 and 4? I tell you what, Tom, that 24, he still looks pretty strong.
He's going to be on 8-lap older tires than Thomas Green directly in front of him. So really impressive that he's able to manage this and stay with Thomas Green, unless what you said before is coming true. Did you burn up too much tire? Did you use that 8-lap difference? Did you take all the advantage you have and throw it out the window? Because Arie Fonseca is not only staying with him, he is pressuring him.
That he is. And it looks like maybe now Thomas Green in the 3 has a little bit of breathing room to work with. And sometimes that's all you need to be able to set your sights forward and run away from the pressure. We're going to jump up ahead with Larry Yingling in the 67. Driver who is, we had a slight issue with the 29 of Brandon Gass, who just lost a significant amount of time. He is still off the pace. Driver 29 with an issue in the top 5. Brandon Gass nursing an issue at the moment, trying to get back up to speed here as there's only 5 laps to go. Does he have a tire going down? It very well may be the case. 120 through turn 1.
Yeah, you can see significantly off the pace here for Brandon Gass, the winner over at Austria a couple of weeks ago at the Red Bull Ring, picked up the win at the road course. Now he's bleeding positions down to 7th, and he's only 140 miles an hour on the backstretch here. I don't see any meatball flags on him. I don't see anything of concern I mean, there's a lot of concern right now, but as far as the car goes, nothing really going on.
And back up here, Fonseca once again taking the fight to Thomas Green now with the 29's issues. This is for the top 5 4 laps remain, and they are door-banging down the back straightaway. The 24 and the 3 down into turn 3. They're going to slide up the racetrack. Elbows out for Fonseca. Pushes Thomas Green up the racing surface. Thank you very much. Top 5 for me, and he is going to try and run away with it.
Fonseca is able to make that pass as we see 3 laps ago here at Texas. Thomas Green trying to respond. He's going to make contact with the back bumper of the 24 on the entry into turn number 1. He's there again. We're going to have a shot down here in turn 3, Arie.
Oh boy, the chrome horn is being used down into turn 3. Fonseca knows what's up. He's going to keep the lane open, and now the 3 car drives Fonseca up the racetrack just a little bit. These two giving it to each other as much as they can out of turn 4. It's going to be popsicle sticks in the air. This battle for P5 still underway. Fonseca on the high side, Green on the inside. They're going to slide each other up the racetrack just a little bit more, but Fonseca's going to power around and take the momentum.
All this is happening. Jarrett Talmadge sees the white flag out here for the Lone Star 240, trying to pick up his 2nd win on the season and extend his points lead. Cedric Hunter 5+ seconds back. Not going to happen tonight for Cedric Hunter. Jarrett Talmadge going to be in the control seat out here tonight down the backstretch. One more set of corners for Talmadge.
Through 3 and 4 for the final time in what has been a masterclass. And for the 2nd time this season, that 27 is going to collect the checkered flag. Jarrett Talmadge, your winner in Texas. As we continue to watch this battle unfold for the final spot on the top 5, Green sends it in and cannot get there. The top 5 spot goes to the 24 of Fonseca in what was a phenomenal battle in the closing laps. But today, it is the 27 getting it done for the first time since Kansas earlier this season. Talmadge is back on top. Oh, by the way, your points leader entering tonight's event
was not going to be denied out here tonight. Jarrett Talmadge brings the SpongeBob machine. We don't know who SpongeBob is calling. I think he told us once, but I forget. But Jarrett Talmadge does the victory donuts out here tonight after managing the tires, managing a masterful race. Jarrett Talmadge wins his 2nd race of the season.
Burning it down on the front straightaway. I tell you what, Tom, I stand by my point. Petition to put Legacy Texas on every schedule everywhere moving forward.
I mean, it certainly did not disappoint out here tonight. We saw the incident on lap number 1 with a couple of cars, but from there, it was green flag racing for the remaining 157 laps. And the car control, you alluded to this before, Arie, the car control that we saw out of these drivers tonight, top-notch.
Top-notch indeed, as we prepare to get some words from our top finishers in tonight's event. Why don't we go ahead and start with our 3rd place finisher. That's going to be the 0-3 of Clint Cox. I tell you what, Clint, it was Tom and I have not been able to really process just how good of a race that was from up here in the booth. We ran green pretty much from flag to flag after that initial yellow there at the start. There was so many tire issues all throughout the race, so many differing strategies between the tires, the fuel, and how far you could go. Walk us through the race and what it was like behind the wheel.
And I tell you what, coming out of turn 2 on the first lap, we about got in one there, but it was a heck of a race. I think these guys that finished in front of me there maybe didn't save tire as good on the first run as they did there towards the end of the race. I couldn't keep up with them there at the end, but it sure was fun racing on the edge there pretty much the whole race.
Absolutely seemed to be the case. And I tell you what, on that first run, you kind of alluded to it. Those top 2 hadn't really managed their tires quite as well, and you came hard charging up there. We were wondering if we were going to see that throughout the rest of the race, but what do you think it was going to take? What needed to happen differently? Was it just, them kind of not getting on top of the tires, or was there something that you felt like you were lacking tonight?
I think that maybe they started off a little hard racing up front, and I kind of took it easy for at least 10 or 15 laps, and I think that helped me come back to them there towards the end of that first green flag pit stop run there, and They just figured it out and figured out how to manage it. This pink 7 Cedric, he was probably the best at saving tire all night, and he ended up getting by us there. I thought he'd challenge Jarrett, but he's a good driver.
That he is. Well, I tell you what, you come home with a strong podium finish all the same. And before we let you go, we're going to open up the floor to you, Clint, to give any Hayes highs or shout-outs to people you might have watching.
Yeah, let's give a shout-out to Chris Stamper. He couldn't make it tonight. He was having some troubles at home, but wish he was here. And shout-out Team 606. Anybody watching, appreciate you guys.
All right, there we go. Clint Cox, the finisher. In third place, driver of the 03, and with that, I believe Tom's caught up with our second place finisher.
That's going to move us to the biggest mover of the night. Cedric Hunter, biggest mover, started 18th, what could have been maybe a little bit different qualifying effort. Cedric, good job on a top 3. I got to think if maybe we qualified a little bit better, we would have been talking a little bit different.
Yeah, that's kind of the story of my recent career. If there's anything I'm treacherous at the most, it's definitely qualifying. Yeah, and that's pretty much, I guess, what Jared and I were just talking about. Like, if I qualified a little bit better, I probably would have been closer. I would have maybe even won. But regardless, I'm really happy that tonight went green. It kind of allowed me to show off my strength of just having long run pace, and I'm glad that I was able to secure my first podium of hopefully many for the season.
Well, you kept the Hello Kitty car clean the entirety of tonight's race. Something that I noticed when you guys came down, Cedric or Jared Talmadge pitted on lap number 110, and you followed suit on pit road. Was there any thought about maybe staying out a lap or two and trying to gain that back up on the back end in the closing laps?
I was considering it, but I know we were like 2 seconds or so slower, so I just didn't want to risk. I probably should have just done something different. It was probably not the smartest thing for me to just match him, but I don't know. I think that staying out in the moment was just going to be a bad idea, but in hindsight probably would have been better. Thankfully, we have tracks like Homestead and Darlington and stuff like that coming up that as long as it goes green, I think we'll put ourselves in a pretty similar situation. Hopefully do something a little bit different that benefits us.
All right, so I got to ask you, Legacy Texas, Old Texas, or Legacy Texas, New Texas, which one does that 7 prefer? Because you seem to be pretty fast out there tonight.
Definitely Legacy. It just drives better. It's the New Texas is okay. Like, it's grown on me over the last year or so, but I feel like Legacy Texas is just a little more technical. You have more bumps. That has more character. The new one's like pretty much flat out for the most part, and 3 and 4, and I guess kind of in both corners. So there's just, yeah, the old version's better.
All right, so that's 3 votes for Legacy Texas. So Josh and Josh and crew, if you guys are listening, make sure that we keep Legacy Texas around for next season. We have Homestead, Darlington, Pocono, and then we're going to see another road course at Sonoma Raceway on March 23rd. How you feeling about your chances at finding victory lane here in the next 3 or 4 weeks?
I feel pretty good. I mean, we got some really deep competition in this field, so there's a lot of guys that can win any of those races, but I feel pretty confident. A lot of I guess 2 mile and a halves. I think, yeah, 2 mile and a halves. I love Pocono too. And Sonoma, I'm not feeling confident. I'm pretty sure that some of our part-timers too show up, and they're just really, really good road course guys. So I will 1,000% count myself out for that race. But as long as we stay on these mile and a halves, I feel like I got a pretty good shot at least podiuming most races, as long as it doesn't, we don't have like a short shoot to the finish or something.
Well, that's how the points are earned here in the closing parts of the season before we see the playoffs begin at Motegi. So that's gonna be a fun one here before you guys get to the chase. Cedric, anybody you want to thank? Say hello to back home watching you finish second out here tonight. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, thanks, man. Huge shout out to my beautiful wife for always supporting what I do on a weekly basis. I know it's a little inconvenient sometimes, but we, as I'm obviously you have probably the same dilemma. We all, us and our partners, all have to deal with it. So, they all support what we do. Shout out to Jared for winning tonight's race. Shout out to my teammates out there. Huge shout out to you guys for putting on all the work and all that stuff that you guys do. I'm glad it took 5 or 6 weeks to finally talk to you guys, but I'm sure it won't be the final time this season I'll get to have a chat with you guys. So thank you for everything you guys do. To all the fans out there that tune in, and to all the drivers for keeping it great tonight.
All right, Cedric, great run out here tonight, and we may get the opportunity to chat with you next week at Homestead. We'll be down in Florida. Congratulations on a second place run. All right, and that's going to bring us to the race winner, 2 wins on the season. And I believe Arie is caught up with our winner, Jarrett Talmadge, here tonight.
That I have, our first multi-winner on the season here, this season in the Trinity Racing League. Jarrett Talmadge in the SpongeBob machine. You come out here to another cookie cutter and you get it done here in Legacy, Texas. I tell you what, it was quite the race to watch from up here in the booth. The amount of tire issues, tire management, different strategies that we had going on. We had 2 stops, we had 3 stops, we had everything going on everywhere, and to top it all off, this race effectively ran flag to flag after that lap 1 yellow there. So walk us through your race, walk us through, kind of that first stint where, it kind of fell apart at the end, and then how you adjusted moving forward.
It was a pretty good race from my end, obviously. Yeah, the tires, they obviously didn't hold on too well in the first stint because the track state was at 0%. So I think everybody kind of got caught out by that, and a lot of people just early went all out, and you saw them chew their tires apart and end up blowing them and have to pit. My goal even from the start was just to make the lap 52, 53 because that would put you right on track with what you want to run each stint. And then started seeing people blow tires, and then I felt my tires going away, and so I got worried I wasn't gonna make it there. And Cedric and I think Clint did a way better job that first stint at keeping their tires on, and so the second stint I had to adjust, and I just kind of realized if you just literally kept it around the white line, you'd be fine as long as you didn't push up center. And so really the rest of the race I just bottom feeded the white line, and the tires held on themselves.
Yeah, it seemed like that helped you out in a big way throughout the race. I remember at one point early on, I kind of pointed out with Tom just how much you were hugging that white line, especially off of turn 2, kind of getting onto the backstretch all the way down on the bottom of the racetrack, which I'm sure paid off in a big way. From up here in the booth, it seemed like the tires were really just an issue all around, but given the setup that you guys were working with here tonight, was it more of a right front intensive race or a right rear intensive race?
It definitely was burning the right front. I think honestly a lot of people's problems was probably the fact that they weren't running the bottom, because if you didn't run the very bottom, it pushed really bad on exit and center, and that's just going to burn the right front up. But it was definitely more right front. But like I said, just running low off the corner exits just puts a lot less stress on the right front and keeps the temps down and the wear down eventually over the length of the run.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, we're getting into an interesting part of the schedule here for Race 7 onward. We've got tracks like Homestead, Darlington, Pocono, Sonoma coming up. These are all very much driver tracks, and now that you've kind of cemented yourself in the points lead, you've got 2 wins on the season. How confident are you moving forward into these more technical tracks in the next handful of weeks?
I'm very confident going into this, for sure the next 3, because like you said, they are driver tracks. I believe they're all going to be daytime, so tire saving is going to be huge, and long run pace, as long as we can get the long runs. I do not like short runs, so as long as we get long runs, I should be pretty good at both the next 3. Sonoma probably won't be. I think Cedric brought up in his interview, there's some people who are running part-time that come in and are just way better than most of the Fiat road courses, so probably write myself off for that one too. Hopefully get a top 10. It's more of a natural road course compared to Austria, so you'll kind of see people who are better at stock car road racing show up there. But I'm pretty confident going into at least next 3 of the 4.
All right, that's what we like to hear. Well, I tell you what, congrats on the big win here tonight in Texas. Before we let you go celebrate, we're going to open up the floor to give any haze highs or shout-outs to people you got watching.
I'd like to shout out you guys put on the broadcast, everybody who runs the league, and a big shout out to the field for keeping it green there the rest of the way.
All right, there we go. Congrats again, Jared, on the big win. And with that, we are a wrap here in Fort Worth. Man, that race of the season so far, Tom, what do you think?
I think it's a strong contender for it, Arie. I mean, we it's not very often where we come in and there's 2 very real strategies that may work, whether it's a 2-stop or or 3-stop. And we had that tonight. We had some tire issues. We had drivers trying to manage it and trying to learn and adapt throughout the race. So a strong contender for race of the season.
All right, and with that, we are ready to pull up our final results on the evening here in Texas. Let's see if we can't run ourselves down through the order. Let me find the music here. There we go. All right, big winner on the evening. It's going to be Jared Talmadge in the 27 ahead of Cedric Connor in P2. Clint Cox rounds out our podium tonight ahead of Larry Yingling in P4. P5 goes to Ollie Fonseca in that incredible battle in the closing laps, beating out Thomas Green, who comes home in P6. Nolan Hicks finishes in 7th ahead of Josh Stovall in P8. Scott Rickard with a solid 9th place run, and Chris Stitz, tonight's pole sitter, comes home P10.
11th place belongs to Josh Kanata out here this evening. Aaron Krolick finishes 12th. Justin Campbell came in here tonight 2nd in the points. Wasn't the night that he was hoping for. Christopher Norris is the last car on the lead lap in 14th, with Ryan Bird first car a lap down. Sam Garcia is going to finish 16th. Brandon Gass issues in the closing laps relegates him back to a 16th place finish, or 17th place finish out here tonight. Isaac Shelley finishes 18th, with Cody Reed directly behind him, and Thomas Walter in the top 20.
In 21st, it's going to be Ryan Kelly finishing ahead of Mike Miller in the 99. P22 after that speeding penalty halfway through the race. Noah Steele comes home in 23rd. Stephen Clapp in 24th. Joshua Sawyer in the 19 rounds out the top 25. And a shotgun on the field, it is going to be the 14 of Jesse Thornick and the 51 of Ben Kinney.
All right, Arie, from here on out, we're going to be here every single Monday night, bringing you to the championship all the way at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the middle of May. Arie, I guess, what do you want to say? You want to do this again next week? We'll be down in Homestead, Miami, which is sure to be a great race. Once again, want to give a shout out to our title sponsor of Larry Arts Productions. Head on over, check out Larry Arts Productions, check out everything that he posts. Helps us keep Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network on the airwaves here every single Monday night for the action from the Trinity Racing League. Arie, I guess I'll meet you down here. I think they got Buc-ee's in Texas. I'll meet you down there, and we'll grab some lunch, and we'll make our way down to Homestead next week.
Sounds like a plan to me. See you in 1 week's time.